they're in attendance as well. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Alien Investigations, a channel dedicated to the X-Files Collectible Card Game, and we are coming at you with a very special game. We are going to be playtesting a upcoming fan-made expansion for the 5th season of the X-Files. So we previously, in earlier episodes on the channel, had playtested the Season 4 expansion, which was a labor of love. And we did about 13 playtests for that one before we decided to make those cards commercially available. So we're looking to repeat that for this new expansion, which, like the Season 4 expansion, if you have it already, is 175 cards. We've got 4 promos available with this one when all is said and done. So we will be making those available once we complete this run of playtests, which I'm aiming to do about maybe a dozen or so, whatever it takes to make sure that the cards that are available in this new season of X-Files CCG cards is mechanically sound and works well with everything that has come out before, commercially released, fan-made, and so forth. And I've got 2 very distinguished gentlemen here with me to do the inaugural playtest for this game. I've got Alastair joining us all the way from Edinburgh, and that's in Scotland. And I've also got Guillaume joining us from France. Guillaume, Alastair, gentlemen, how are we doing this afternoon?
Good evening for us.
Evening, that's right. Yes, normally it's evening for me and afternoon or early morning for you guys whenever we got this going down. But it's a Friday. County holiday as far as I'm concerned, so I'm actually, just enjoying an extra day off. But yes, there's nothing I would rather be doing than watching a playtest happening for this. This is the first one. This is the very first playtest for this new expansion of cards, and I'm very excited about it because the 5th season has a lot of great episodes, and I'm so happy that we are finally getting to see some of those episodes represented in card form. We're talking Detour, the postmodern Prometheus, Patient X, Pine Bluff variant, Folly Ado. There's so many great episodes from that 5th season.
Bad blood.
God, say nothing about Bad Blood. Of course, yes, there are plenty of cards in this new expansion representing the episode Bad Blood, including I think 3 equipment cards. It's crazy. Yeah, Bad Blood is getting lots of representation in this, and I'm hoping we will see some of those cards in play for this matchup. We've got 175 cards in this expansion, as I said, so there's lots of ground to cover, but this is only the first of many playtest games we've got coming up in the upcoming episodes. So this is very exciting. I'm very excited. I mean, it was about 2 years ago, I think, that I first started writing these cards. Does that sound about right, Guillaume?
Yeah, I was going to say it was 2 years ago that you showed me the first draft of these cards. So yeah, time really flew by, but I'm really excited to be part of that very first playtest 2 years later.
And Guillaume, you were a part of the playtest for the Season 4 expansion, so I'm very pleased that you are availing yourself a second time to help make sure that what I'm hoping to put out there for everyone is a mechanically sound expansion. And as I said, I'm very excited about these cards. We did Season 4 about, feels like ages ago, right? And I've learned a lot. We've learned a lot. We've all learned a lot about this game in that time. And there's lots of stuff I would do differently with that first expansion if I could go back and do so. But you know what? That ship has sailed. I'm still happy with it nonetheless, but I'm even happier with what we've got coming for this upcoming expansion. We're going to be using some of the elements that we saw with the Season 4 expansion. There's going to be elements of the gulag, the cancer effect that cripples agents across multiple rounds. We've got more keyword insanity cards coming up. We've got more keywords that have not been seen up until this point. So there's lots of new stuff and stuff that's going to carry on what we've gotten in previous expansions. So again, lots of ground to cover. Very excited about this. And we've also got Mr. David Peace from Studio Squim joining in, who I hope to see in some upcoming playtests for this as well. David, thank you so much for tuning in on this Friday. Yeah, I want to thank all of you guys, every single one of you who has been a part of reviewing these cards and helping me refine the effects, because sometimes they sound great in your head, but then when you got other eyes looking at them, you really kind of see where the flaws exist. And I also want to send a special shout out to Mr. Dax Golding, for without whom we really wouldn't be here. Without the use of his very, very refined and beautiful templates that have made it possible for us to actually create these cards and to have them be available for printing and distribution for anyone who's interested in buying a set. Dax, I don't think you're watching live because it's pretty late where you are, but I'm sure you'll be tuning in to review this, because I know you like to watch these playtest games and see what we need to adjust for these cards. Very exciting stuff. So anyone who's watching this live broadcast, please be sure to tune in and weigh in on anything that you see with regards to these new cards. We've got a big pool we're working with. Not only we have the 175 cards for the Season 5 expansion. You gentlemen, I believe maybe you are incorporating some cards from the Season 4 expansion, as well as all the commercially released cards are available. Guillaume, I wouldn't be surprised if you threw some Scully set cards in your deck as well, which is great, because it is crucial to see how these new cards work well with the old ones. And so that's what we're about to take in. This is our endeavor for this matchup. Gentlemen, are you excited as I am?
Yes.
Excellent. So much like every other game, we've got just the same objective: be the first to identify your opponent's X-File. But of course, in this case, while we're conducting a typical game of X-Files CCG, we are also, of course, going to be weighing in on the new cards as they come up. Only stipulation, and you guys are both well aware of this, you can, from the commercially released sets, you can use all of those lovely staple cards like Langley, Frohickey, X, No One's So Paranoid, to negate cards as they come up, but do avoid that for the playtest ones. We really want to make sure those effects are as mechanically sound as I hope they are. Gentlemen, are we ready to throw down?
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm going to get your tables in there, and I'm going to hop backstage. And of course, please summon me if you got a question about these card effects, because unlike with commercially released ones, we can actually get a definitive answer as far as intent goes. So there's one of the upsides to doing a play test amongst us. All right, so I'm heading backstage. Gentlemen, good luck, and I look forward to a great game.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steven.
So you want to introduce your team first, Alastair?
Yeah, sure. Actually, okay, start with the one card that is not from the new expansion, which is Detective Hudak from the Season 4 expansion. And then we've got Detective John Kresge from the brand new Season 5 expansion. Sheriff Lucius Hartwell, again from the new expansion, Bad Blood. And Dana Scully, the lovely promo version from Postmodern Prometheus that Stephen has come up with for this set. So that's the team here. Hopefully we don't have too much crossover. How's yours looking, Guillaume?
Hold on, I'm finishing. I'm putting your agents on my table because I'm not familiar yet with their skills.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you use Sheriff Hartwell, Scully's POV, right?
What was that, sorry?
The Sheriff Hartwell card that you have, it's Scully's POV, right? It's Scully's version, not Mulder's, correct?
Yes, sorry. Yeah. Good point. Yeah, there are two versions of Sheriff Hartwell in this set, reflecting the nature of the Bad Blood episode, where we get the two perspectives on his character. And right enough, yes, the version I'm using is Scully's version of Hartwell. And part of the reason for picking that from a gameplay point of view is that he does get a boost to his behavioral and sciences stat, and can also negate a combat directed at Scully. So there's technical reasons as well as flavor reasons for him being here.
So my team, well, I have Agent Scully as well because she's my favorite character. So I just had to have her for the first playtest. And then I have one other agent from season 5. We have the same one, John Fresky, from Emily and Christmas Carol. And then, well, 2 agents that we are familiar with, Burke and Hostin. I tried to build several teams with season 5 agents, and there were a few possibilities for tonight, but I really wanted to use 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, and so I ended up with this team. And at first, I really wanted to use 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 with the Captain Jacques well, I don't know how you pronounce it. I will say it the French way, bon sang, I think bon sang, from Shenga. And I wanted to use also Albert Hostin, and also I think Albert Hostin, but it was just 1 point too much. It was 21 points, so I had to change. I wanted to have a team with 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 and old men, but
yeah. I mean, I think we've left a real treat for whoever does playtest game number 2, because the lone gunmen are such a huge feature of the agent lineup for this new season, and I think there'll be a lot of fun had building teams with not just with all 3 of them, but with different configurations of 1 or 2 of them, and different mixes of agents coming in from other sets. So we're definitely not taking all the fun in our lineup this evening. Someone has a treat checking out the gunmen in an upcoming game. So I have an X-File selected here. Are you good on X-File?
Yep. Yes, it's there.
Brilliant. And unfortunately, I am on dice this evening for resources, but I will keep you appraised as I move them up and down of what number they're representing. And yeah, do you want to do odds or evens for priority?
Sure. Odds.
Yeah, it is even, so I will pick to be the investigating player for this game. Okay.
And so yeah, my deck, it has cards from every expansion, but mostly season 5 cards. It's about 58% season 5 cards and 20% season 4.
Yeah, I think you had managed to do a little better than me. I think I'm about half of my deck is season 5, and then there's a little like 10% or so season 4, and then the rest is commercially released. So okay, that's an interesting first hand. So I will start my turn by drawing a card. And then I'll create resource points. So 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬's going to give me 2. Sheriff Hartwell is 1. Kresge is 1. And Hudak is 1. So total of 5 RP coming in. Should put me up to 10. And I will go ahead and buy 3 cards with that, so that will drop me back down to 7. And I will pass to you for selling and buying for Conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with those cards, like I have cards that I want to play, but I also need to sell for CP. So I'm going to sell Sheriff Andy Taylor for 4, and yeah, I have to do this. I need CP. I have to sell Gibson Praise for 3. So that's a total of 7. Puts me at 12. And I'll purchase 3 cards. And back to you.
Okay, so first turn of the game. So as usual, there's no healing or requisite. Right, okay, no healing for sure, and I have no requisitioning to do. Deployment, I'm going to move everyone out to the field, so just push them forward to indicate that. And case assignment. I will pay 4, so I'm going down to 3 here, to play Franklin, PA, which is criminal investigation and a method question. And University of Maryland, Baltimore, which is criminal investigation 4+ and a result question. And throw it over to you, Guillaume, for any bluffs that you want to play on them.
No bluffs.
Okay. So I'm going to send the whole team to the University of Maryland and leave Franklin, PA for the moment. 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 ability, I think, will trigger here. During your investigation phase, add 1 to your resource pool if a team including Detective 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 is assigned to a keyword mono site. Cost of any witness cards played at the site is increased by 1. So I will put that 1 in the bank just now, which takes me up to 4. And I will pass it across to you for anything that you want to put in the way of the team. In fact, I guess I should quickly run through their stats approaching this site. So got criminal investigation 2 from Scully, 2 from Hartwell, 2 from Kresge, and 2 from 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 here. So a total of 8.
Yeah, you're free to ask your question. The cards that I have won't do any good. Your team is too strong, so you're free to ask.
Okay, so I get 1 result question here. And I'm going to ask, Guillaume, is your result manipulation?
No, it's not.
Okay, a quick bit of scoring off. Right, I think that looks good. Yeah, manipulation all crossed off. So I'll send that to the discard. Franklin, PA will also go to the discard. And I will move to debriefing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cards, so you have to do a bit of discarding here.
And I have 7.
I will discard. Well, this is tough. I don't want to discard any of the new cards.
Yeah.
But I have to discard something. I'm going to discard a quarantine zone and a skinhead man.
Good. I was not looking forward to quarantine zone being played on me.
And that brings me down to 7. I'll pass to you for your turn.
All right, so I'm going to draw my free card. Generate my raise, which is 5. Puts me at 10. And I'll purchase. I'll just purchase 1 card, I think. Yeah, just 1 card.
Okay.
And back to you.
I sell 2. One of them is a good one. I'm selling 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 and a Broad Street Philadelphia for 5, which will take me up to 10. Conspiracy. And I am actually not going to buy any cards, but I am going to use 2 of that conspiracy for a rejuvenating caves. So I will get some conspiracy points from that at the start of my next conspiracy phase. And pass back to you for the rest of your turn.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to play a new one, Spiritual Consult. it costs 2. So it's a new mechanic for events. Attach this card to an agent along with 1 RP token. This RP token may be used to pay for any keyword occult investigation cards. If you use this token, replace it during a briefing phase. And, well, actually, I do have a question for Steven.
Excellent, and I have an answer, undoubtedly.
So is the RP token one that I choose from my pile of tokens, or is it, do I pay actually 2 for the card, then 1 for the token that I have to put on the card to start it with?
So you're going to pay the cost of the card. You'll deduct that from your resource pool, and then you place the card on it, and then you just add a resource point. You just take a resource point. I don't like saying token, but I will use it for lack of a better word in this case. Yeah, you'll just add it to it like we do with the agents that have that built-in effect, like Agent Rich or Spiller. We add that to them, at the onset of the game. So this is very much in the same vein of that. But I never thought about it that way. So you're asking if the RP token that gets put on them also gets deducted from the pool.
At first, that was my initial understanding, but then there are some Scully set cards, some events that you pay for, and then you also have to put 2 tokens from your resource pool to double the cost of any, for instance, alien adversary or any occult adversary. So the cost is 4, but then you also have to deduct 2 more. So
interesting.
Like or something like that.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. What? My intent behind that was like just like the agents that have that built-in effect come with it without there actually being a deduction from your starting 5 in your resource pool. Same idea applies.
Okay, makes sense.
Unless, and if you guys, this is one of those things, and that was despite that being my intent, but I would, of course, you guys, or if anyone watching thinks that maybe that should be an additional deduction from it, I would like to hear some thoughts on that, because I had not thought of it from that perspective before. I say keep it the same as the agents with the built-in one, but again, open to feedback from everyone involved.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, but I just checked, and the wording on the Scully set cards is not the same. It really says you may place up to 2 resource tokens from your resource pool on this card. So it really states what you have to do here. Okay, it makes sense, but since I had those cards in mind, I really wanted to make sure.
Yeah, and that's a great question. Yes, and of course the effect as it's written on those on the spiritual consult and all the other corresponding ones. It doesn't direct to discard, like to take it from the resource pool. It just says, or let me pull up an example of one of those, because there are, for those who aren't aware, there are 11 cards like that built into this expansion, one representing each of the 11 possible skills that are available in the game. And let me see, what do we have? I found Spiritual Consult. Attach this card to an agent along with 1 resource point. This resource point may be used to pay for any keyword occult investigation cards. If you use this resource point, replace it during your briefing phase. And so, that is food for thought. As I said, intent was you just inherit it like the other agents with the effect do at the start of the game. But that is something worth to consider if anyone wants to suggest, like, well, if we tinker with the cost and factor that to include this, that is certainly a suggestion, and I'm open to whatever thoughts anyone has on that.
Personally, I like it too. That's good.
What about you, Alastair? Any initial thoughts on it?
I agree. I think two's fine.
2 is fine, and then the resource point just comes from basically from outside the game and is stacked on the agent as a representative token, right?
Yeah.
All right, very good. And I love what I'm seeing so far, guys. Do carry on.
Yeah. All right, so I've given the spiritual consult card to Scully. Moving to no healing, no requisition. For deployment, I'm going to send everyone to the field, including Scully with her extra card. And for case assignment, we're going to go investigate Coates Grove, Michigan, I think. I think it's Michigan, but I'm not sure. It's one of the season 5 sites from Schizogeny. It's behavioral 5+ or occult investigation 5+, affiliation or method. And if I ask if the method is manipulation, the skill check prerequisite is 4+. So we'll see about that. So I'm going to play the site. It costs 1. I'm going to use the token from Spiritual Consult to pay for it. And before you do anything else, Alastair, I'm also going to play another event from season 5. This one is from Pine Bluff variant. It's Lies Within Lies. It costs 3. And it says, force an opponent player to reveal any bluff cards in their hand. If your opponent has 1 or more, discard 1 at random.
Just to check, because this is a new card and I can't remember the exact wording on it. So I don't reveal my whole hand, I just reveal any bluffs that are in it.
Yeah. Any bluffs that you have, and then we discard 1 at random.
Okay, so this is going to be nice and simple because I have 1 bluff in hand, which is the BATF refuses to play ball. So that will just be automatically discarded.
Yeah. Can you remind me what that one does?
Yeah, so this is a season 5 card as well. One of my favorite cards, actually, especially amongst the bluffs from this new set. Costs 3 conspiracy points. Play this card to prevent all keyword independent agents from contributing to any skill checks occurring at this site, including combat. So yeah, it's a really good one to grab with that other season 5 card.
Yeah, it's a great card from an episode that I don't really enjoy, but yeah, it's good that you got rid of that one, because yeah, I do have 2 keyword independent agents on my team. Okay, so Lies Within Lies did its job. Okay, so moving on to the case assignment phase, I'm going to send everyone to investigate Coates Grove. I'm going to use occult investigation, and hold on, how much occult do I have? Well, you know what? I'll use the specification. I'll ask if the method is manipulation. That way the skill check will be 4 instead of 5. So occult investigation 4, and I have 7. Everyone on the team has occult except Detective John Kresge.
Okay. And can you remind me of the keywords in this site again, Guillaume?
Sure. So it's behavioral, occult investigation, affiliation, and method.
Okay. So I'm going to pay 5 conspiracy. Should drop me down to 3. And I had a bad motive for discarding that quarantine zone, which was that I was holding 2 quarantine zones at the end of that turn. So season 4 card showing up here. One of my favorites from season 4. This card is ridiculously good.
I think we went through several iterations of that card because we could not find the right balance. And
I think still pretty strong.
Yeah, I think it would have been a rare card if it had been commercially released.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. This is like rare, ultra rare material. I think this one. So, and for anyone who doesn't know what it does, place this card on top of an opponent's site and place 2 tokens on it. Remove a token during each of their following briefing phases. While this card is in play, the site cannot be resolved. The team may not move or contribute their skills until the last token has been removed, except for agents equipped with a biohazard suit.
Which none of my agents have. So yeah, so I pulled the quarantine zone card from my season 4 folder, and I'm going to place 2 tokens on it. And okay. Wow, that will do the trick for several rounds. And this card during the following briefing phase. Okay. Well, that does it for that investigation for now, at least. I don't have any card that can negate that one. No, I don't. So investigation on hold for now.
Okay.
Again, that's a good episode.
Yeah. Good to go to debriefing, Guillaume?
Yes, we can go to debriefing.
2 cards in hand for me this time, so I'm safe for a change.
And I have 6 cards. So,
Okay.
yeah, no discard from me. And I think I should know the answer by now, but I'm going to ask Stephen anyway. About quarantine zone, I always forget. Agents can contribute their skills or move, but they can still generate press, correct?
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. No, I understand. Yeah, it's a good question because that is the one thing. That is one thing that isn't spelled out there. We say can't contribute their skills. I don't have it in front of me, Alastair, right? But it says they can't contribute their skills, move. But that's all it says, right?
Let's move or contribute their skills until the last token has been removed.
Yeah.
So
they would be able to generate res. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, good. Then I'm going to play one. Well, and can I still play a card? Can I still play a weakness on one of the agents, even though the agent is under quarantine zone?
You want to attach a witness to them?
I mean, it would not make in the spirit, and it wouldn't make sense. Like they would be in quarantine, but that's what I asked. Instead of discarding it, I'm like, well, I'm not going to investigate a site. It's going to be stuck for the next turn, so I might as well use my resource to pay for something. But if it's not possible, then that's understandable.
I never even thought about it with respect to equipment cards either. They can't contribute their skills or move. I mean, I would think spiritually no, but man, that is something we never did cover playtesting. Is like, what about when you have an equipment card? Can you give them an equipment card?
I mean, can I ask a supplementary rules question as well here, guys, about this, which is, can you play witness cards in the debriefing phase?
Well, I mean, as long as it doesn't have like an activator beyond, because some of the witnesses do have activators that are specific to a skill or something. I've always been the
If I don't get to play the card that lets me strip people's hands during the briefing phase because it's thematically inappropriate to be playing bluffs at the start of your turn, then why are witnesses showing up when we're just discarding cards?
Oh, because bluffs do have the activator of sight.
Yeah, bluffs have the sight activator on them.
But that one doesn't. That's the whole point about it, is that it doesn't have the sight activator. The one that limited choices doesn't have a sight activator. It just has conspiracy.
Oh, now I remember. I think because that was one of the Truth Is Out There edition ones. I think I remember Mike and I talking about this. I think we were of the mind that is that the only one that does not have that sight activator? I think we thought that was a mistake, that they neglected to put it on there. So I think what we decided was in errata too. It was meant to have the keyword or the activator sight on there, if I remember that conversation, but it's coming back to me now. Was that the only one?
I'm just playing devil's advocate here, because I think there is a fair point about thematically playing witnesses in the debriefing phase, but I'm just stirring the pot with the illusion.
We also raised the question of, could you play witnesses during the briefing phase for resource witnesses like Kevin Morris, or should you wait until the investigation phase? That way you can play adversaries with the keyword witness.
Right.
That's something.
I've still been in the camp that you could, and I know there are those in our community who disagree. Like Nathan is probably the strongest dissenter for playing them in the briefing or anything outside investigation.
Which committee then?
What's that?
Good thing that he's in the rules committee, because he'll be able to make some decisions too.
Yeah, indeed. Let's say for there's no activator on that witness, right? Guillaume site, it just says active, right?
Yeah, it just says active.
And it is attached to
for this evening. Go ahead and play it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and play it. Yeah.
It's a season 5 witness, so it's I'm going to pay 2 to
I
play
want to
Terra
see it.
Scully.
Yeah.
So Terra Scully, discard to add 1 game effect token to Agent Dana Scully. This token is useful in the same way as the Agent's 3 starting token. It doesn't say on the card that it cannot put it above the limit.
It does not.
No, like Nurse Owen, I would not be able to do that.
Oh
Because
yes, we talked about that. Yes, because the idea is, she is about to have a child, so I think the thought is there's a new addition to the Scully and another addition to the Scully family. So that was my yes. You can take it above the normal number of tokens. If you guys think it's worth adding, we could say yes. Well, actually, there's not much space on that with the flavor text, but yes, because the baby is a new addition to the family. Therefore, like the same idea, like the token could be a 4th token on top of the Scully card. That was I did not spell it out, but this token is usable in the same way. What's that?
I think you're all good. I don't think you need to worry about kind of increasing the explanation there. It's kind of the idea of you're fine because you're the omission of the detail is clarification in itself. So
I agree, and I think that's the case with at least one, like Nurse Owens. I think it's the same, right?
Well,
that's true.
Yeah, same logic applies. Good stuff. Good questions coming up. Yes, and I think gosh, even like a couple of years later now, we just realized something about the quarantine zone, which again, that ship has already sailed, and now I realize, we didn't really define attaching cards like equipment to agents under there. So again, it's like every time we play this game, we learn something new.
But there is just no room on the card.
Absolutely no room on that card. I tried my best. Like, okay, they can't use their skills, they can't move, and of course, we went through, as Guillaume pointed out earlier, so many iterations of that card. I think Dax was annoyed. I mean, to an extent, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to go back to Dax and ask him to revise it. I can't remember. It must have been at least double-digit number of times before we finally got that card to what it is now. All right, guys, good job. Good.
You guys did a great job. Just saying, you guys did a great job with it. It's perfectly powerful as it is without stopping things being attached or anything like that. So I have no complaints about the value I'm getting from it for you here.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's crippling Guillaume for 2 rounds, and that's hard enough. So it's like, let him attach something. And again, it's a season 5 card. We want to see it. Terra Scully now in play. Loving it. Carry on, guys.
Right, so I now have set 5 cards, and that's it for my debriefing. So we can pass it to you.
Okie dokie. So I will start my turn by drawing a card.
Okay.
And then create reds. So 5 again from the team here, which puts me up to 9. My hand is vanishingly small, so I'm going to add some cards in here. I'll go ahead and draw 4. So I'm down to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards to hand. Interesting. And with that, I will pass it to you, Guillaume, for buying and selling for conspiracy.
Well, I only have 1 card that I might want to sell, but it's one of those cards like the cost is 2x. So in that case, since x has no value, it's 2 times 0. So can you sell this type of card for something, or like I can show you. It doesn't matter. If it's one of the season 5 witnesses, and basically you have to, x depends on whatever. Okay, yeah, Steven agrees.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 2 times 0.
That because that really impacts the value of those witnesses in those cards in a deck, right? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to sell any cards, but I'm going to buy. Hold on. I'm going to buy 2 cards or 3 cards. 3 cards. And back to you.
Okay. So no healing, not doing any requisitioning. Everyone's staying in the field. Case assignment. I am going to spend 3 here, which will drop me all the way down to 2, for 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬's RV, Traverse City, Michigan. This is season. What was that? Sorry again.
I was another criminal investigation site.
Yeah. Criminal investigation 4+, the result question, and the other one is the one cost University of Indiana Bloomington. This is from the season 5 expansion, so new site here. Evidence collection 5+, or sciences 5+. You may ask one motive question or one result question. Stephen's alma mater.
Oh.
And any bluffs you'd like to put down here?
Let me see how you could divide this. Okay. It would be good to present that. Okay, one bluff on each side. I'm going to put this one on the University of Indiana and this one on the 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬's RV. So the one with 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬's RV is going to have a token on it.
Okay, and that's the one that I've marked as number 2 with my blue dice here.
I'll just switch it then.
Thanks, Guillaume. Yeah, perfect. I am going to use one of Scully's tokens to take a peek at the bluff on the RV.
So it's season 4 bluff. It's trial run. It doesn't prevent your investigation. It's play this card to add. I never know how to read this. Right, 2 times X to my pool, and X is the number of witnesses in my discard pile. So if I have 5 witnesses in my discard pile, then I get to add 10 to my conspiracy pool.
And you already have at least one witness in there, right, Guillaume?
Yes, at least one.
Since we're looking at witnesses in your discard pile, Guillaume, remind me, which of the season 5 witnesses did you discard? Was it Susan Chambliss?
No, so Tara Scully and Gibson Price.
Gibson Price? Well, I thought you had one of the 2X witnesses, or no, did you keep that in your hand?
The one with the 2X I kept in my hand.
Okay, good deal. All right, thanks.
Yeah, because it was too late for me to discard it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, carry on.
Also, now you know that I have at least 2 witnesses in my discard pile.
Yeah. So okay, that being deduced, I will send the whole team to the RV and let you go ahead with that bluff if you so wish.
Okay. So I'm going to pay 1. The bluff costs 2, so I'm going to pay 1 for it, and I have 1. I have 3 witnesses in my Discord pile, so I'm going to add 6 to my conspiracy pool.
Very nice.
11. Right, so how much criminal investigation do you have? 8, correct? Or
Yeah, still 8. I do get 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 ability again to add 1 to my RP pool because it's a mono site. So just take up to 3 on my resources, but yeah, 2 criminal investigation per agent here.
So I'm going to play 1 bluff with at full cost. It's security checkpoint. It costs 3. It's a season 5 bluff. Place this card to prevent all agents from contributing their skills to this site, except agents with a subterfuge skill value of 1+.
Yeah, which not many people on my team have subterfuge. I think it's just Sheriff Hartwell. So that will take me down to 2 criminal investigation, and sadly, there's nothing I can do to find the extra 2 somewhere. So the investigation to the RV fails, and I send that to the discard pile. And the university actually hangs around because it has a bluff on it, so I'll leave that up there in the corner somewhere. And go to debriefing. I have 5 cards in hand for debriefing.
And I have 5 cards as well.
And pass to you for your turn. And remove a token from quarantine zone, right?
It's during my briefing phase. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to draw my free card. I'm removing 1 token. I'm going to generate my res, which is 5. Put me at 7. And I'm going to buy 2 cards. I'm going to buy 1 card or 2 cards. No, just 1 card and passing it to you. Oh.
Okay, so Rejuvenating Caves will add 2 to my conspiracy pool, and I'm going to sell a shotgun for 6. So that's 8 into the pool, which takes me up to 11. And I will spend 3 on cards, which will drop me back down to 8. Okay. And pass back to you.
So no healing, no requisition, and the 1 card that I drew was 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, which I'm going to pay 3 to negate the quarantine zone.
Nice.
And I also forgot to put the RP token back on spiritual consult. I'm going to do that.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
So quarantine zone is gone. And 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 as well. So we're in deployment. For case assignment, we're going to, well, we're not going to play any, I'm not going to play any more sites, so we're going to stay right where we are. And I guess you can place another, well, you can play face down bluffs on the site if you wanted.
No bluffs.
Okay. So investigation phase, I'm going to once again use occult investigation 4+, and I'll ask if the method is manipulation if I succeed the investigation. And
Okay,
I have occult investigation.
and remind me of the
keywords.
keywords.
So it's behavioral, occult investigation, affiliation, and method.
Okay, and you're clear for a question.
Good. Oh, good. Okay. Well, the question would be: is your method manipulation?
My method is not manipulation.
Okay. Okay. So Coates Grove is discarded. And can move on to the debriefing phase. I have 6 cards in my hand.
And a 7 exactly for me.
All right, so passing it to you then.
Okay, so start by drawing my free cards. Create resource points, so 5 again from the team, which puts me to 8. And I am just going to take this opportunity to play a friend in the FBI, and I will use the usual trick for that of using it to pay for itself, so it takes down to 8 immediately. And I will draw 2 cards, so down to 6 resources, 2 cards to hand, and pass to you for selling and buying conspiracy.
So I'm going to sell Warning from the Future from Season 4 and Hacking into Government Agencies from Season 5. This one allows you to search a bureau deck and search for any expenditure cards, like the one that like Spiritual Consult. So that's a total of 8, puts me at 16. And I'm going to buy 5 cards and passing it back to you.
Okay, no healing or requisition, everyone's staying in the field. I'm going to quickly use one of Scully's tokens to take a look at the face down bluff on the site that I didn't investigate last turn at the university.
So that bluff is Roy Con from Season 5. Increase the site prerequisite by 1 point for each agent without a bureaucracy skill value. In addition, if the team fails the site skill check, your opponent must discard 1 active card from their hand.
Okay. So I'm going to pay 4 res here, which will drop me to 2. And I'm going to play 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬's RV from Season 4. We saw this one already. This is the Criminal Investigation 4+ result question. And Cape Cod, Massachusetts, Sciences 4+ an affiliation question. And I'll throw it over to you for any face-down bluffs on that.
So the other so it's the University of Microsoft. So it's universe. So you have 3 sites in play at the moment, correct?
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, I may technically be breaking a limit of some sort on that, depending what rules we're playing by. So I'm happy to take one of them back.
No. It was just to make sure that I had all the sites written down. Actually, I think you can have as many sites down as you want.
I think it's just by turn rules that you can't investigate more than 2 in a turn. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I'm not going to play any more bluffs for now, anyway.
Okay. I am going to send the whole team to 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬's RV.
Okay.
And had deja vu here. They all have 2 criminal investigation again. So we'll throw it over to you for any horrible stuff. You have to stop them in their tracks. In fact, quickly before I forget, I'm also going to add RP point for UDAX
Yes.
trigger.
I have. I'm going to play Summoned by the Stars for 1. It's a season 5 card. Place this card on an opposing agent in the field to change 1 keyword low or independent to abductee. This card is removed when a healing card is played on the afflicted agent. Unless you want to negate it, I'm going to attach.
I'm not allowed to negate it even if I want to, Guillaume. So you're all good.
No, I mean, I think, like, for instance, there are some season 5 cards that allow you to negate for an occult or occult investigation card. So, I mean, you could negate a season 5 card with a season 5 card.
That's true. That's true. So I have nothing like that in hand, sadly. So who would you like to change? Is it keyword law to keyword abductee, right? Is what's happening here.
Yeah, so it's either keyword law or independent. So I'm going to change Scully's law keyword to abductee, which is fitting for her.
That's very true. It's thematically on point. And I'm going to just leave a dice on her, just up at the top of her keyword line to remind us that that has happened.
Okay. And then there is one more card that I'd like to play. I'm going to play the full cost. So 3 to play the BATF refuses to play ball, which you're familiar with. Play this card to prevent all keyword independent agents from contributing to any skill checks occurring at this site, including combat.
And so this becomes a complete shutout now. I have, in fact, I suppose no. Technically, Scully can still.
Yeah. Scully can still contribute.
Because she's
she's
not independent still. So, but 2 criminal investigation is still nowhere near enough. So again, an unsuccessful attempt to investigate the RV. Cape Cod will go to the discard pile here as well. And yeah, debriefing. I have exactly 7 cards in hand, so just managed to avoid having to get rid of any of them.
Yeah, and I have 7 as well. Okay, so enjoying my free card.
Yeah, throw it over to you for your turn, Guillaume.
My free card, I'm going to generate my res, which is 5. And I'm going to immediately play, well, it only has active, so I can do that now. Yeah, I'm going to play Aura Photography. It costs 1. If the team makes sciences for plus skill check, add 5 tokens to your resource pool. So Scully and Burke alone make that skill check.
Nice.
I'm going to add 5. Okay, so, and I'm going to purchase 2 cards and passing it to you to sell and buy.
I am. I'm not going to sell any cards. I will generate 2 Conspiracy of the Rejuvenating Caves, which puts me to 10. And I will buy I'll buy 2 cards. Drops me to 8. And pass to you for the rest of your turn.
So no healing. I don't know how useful this is going to be, but it's too good to pass. I'm going to equip something to Scully, and I'm going to equip Quick Quack to her for 4.
Quick Quack!
Yeah. So Quick Quack goes with Scully. He has 2 attached cards now. All right. 2 attached cards, 5 tokens. Yeah, good stuff. Really convenient to play it to move the card around. Okay. So that's it for acquisition. For deployment, everyone is going to stay in the field. And for case assignments, we're going to go investigate. Where are we going? Well, let's go there. We're going to the University of Indiana. I'm following you. It costs 1, and it's evidence collection or sciences, motive or result.
I will play 1 face down bluff on that site.
I'm going to use one of Scully's 4 tokens to look at that bluff.
And it's one that we've now seen a few times. The BATF refuses to play ball is face down on that site.
Okay.
Pardon me.
Okay, well, I'm sending everyone to the site.
Okay, so I will start by paying 2 technically because it goes face down again right after Scully's.
Well, I'm going to use sciences, just so that we are, because it's evidence collection or sciences. So I'm declaring which skill I'm going to use before you technically play the bluff. So I'm going to use sciences.
Okay, so 2 for that. So actually, so this will stop everyone but Scully.
Yeah, correct. So without that bluff, I have. Without that bluff, I have 7 sciences, and with that bluff, I only have 3 sciences because Scully is the only one contributing her skills.
It leaves you very close to being able to use a witness over the line, but we'll go for it. Drop down to 6, play for BATF, and see if we can stop the investigation that way.
Okay, so I'm going to play the one witness that I kept, Dr. William Vinet, whatever it's pronounced. It's from Emily. It adds X to one team's medical or sciences skill check. X equals 1 for every 2 resource points paid when playing this card. So Scully has 3 and I need 5, so I need 2 from him. So I need to pay 4 to add 2 to sciences. Is that correct, Stephen?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I want to point out though, Guillaume, I thought his name was pronounced Vinet. I thought it was a little bit of a French etymology to it, but I'm not sure because it was never uttered in the episode.
In French, we would say Vinet.
Vinet. I'm going with that. I think it sounds classy too when you say it that way. Okay, sorry, let me pull them up right now. Okay, yeah, so you're adding, you wanted to add 2 to the skill check, right?
I think I had before, but
yeah, so it's 2x to the science. You're going for sciences on this one. So yeah, x equals 1 for every 2, and you want to add 2 to the skill check. So you are paying a total of 4, unless you got, I don't know, maybe like a spiritual. Spiritual consults for what?
yeah, so it's for occult investigation.
Okay. I was gonna. Maybe I shouldn't suggest that, but I forgot which you had attached. But yes, 4 for Vinay to add 2 to the site skill check. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's sciences that I would need for that. And looking at my team of agents, I'm so focused on the season 5 cards that I think it's the third time that I forgot to use Austin's token to actually prevent Alastair from using one of his cards. So I need to remember it during my next turn.
Which is totally fine. I say play it on only a commercial card, but we'll see how it goes. I know it's funny. It's like I said earlier, 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 is crunching all the numbers for the 2x cards, but he seems to have decided to take a lunch break or something. So here I am filling in for you, 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, wherever you are at this moment. I'm assuming in front of a food dish, if I had guessed.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to pay the 4, putting my pool down to only 1, and to pay for Dr. Guillaume Vinay and add 2 to my skill check. So I am now at 5.
And nice work. And you were clear for a question.
Good. Okay, so it's motive or result. Let's go with motive. And is your motive ideology?
My motive is ideology.
Oh, cool. Okay, so that was worth spending almost all of my resource for.
A very good investment, yeah.
I have to say that just having new cards to play with, it's the same rule and the same game, but it really renews the experience. It feels like a brand new game. I love it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's such a treat. And I don't, because you've already had 1 or 2 questions. This may bring you close to guessing range. That correct guessing?
Yeah, I know that I'm not going to take a guess because it's like when you play playtests, you want the game to last for as long as possible to be able to play as many cards as possible. But yeah, getting it right brings me really close to. Because I feel like
we'll see in a minute. You're working through your crossing off, but I'm guessing Guillaume's probably got it down to maybe 4 or 5 options at this point.
Maybe slightly more, but okay. So 9.
9. Okay. So yeah, it's still pretty wide for any guessing.
All right. So Dr. Vinay is discarded, and I have 6 cards in my hand for deployment.
I have to discard something. I'm going to discard Sim Residence to the discard pile. All good to start my turn again?
Yes, I can pass it to you.
Start by drawing my free card. Generate resource points. So 5 from the team, 2 from friend in the FBI. It's 7, which will put me to 10 resources. I will spend 3 on cards, so that will put me down to 7. 1, 2, 3. And pass to you for selling and buying.
Okay, so I'm going to sell. I'm going to sell 3 cards. Yeah. Stunning Blow for 2, Metro Diner for 2, and No Secrets here for 1. That's total of 5. Puts me at 12, and I'm going to buy. 3 cards, 4 cards. 4 cards. And back to you.
Okay, so no healing, no requisition, and it's been a while since I've done. I'm just going to consult the little red rule book a second because I'm about to do something I've not done in the game for a while. Actually, maybe one of you guys can remind me, because I think it's the kind of thing that both you and Stephen will know off the top of your heads. I want to pay 4 to add Tom Colton to my team for the turn from my hand.
Yeah, doing it deployment, please.
I think is it during deployment?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And then he
Cool.
gets discarded during briefing of the same turn.
Yep. So that will drop me to 3 resource points. And case assignment, going to spend 2, which will drop me to 1 point. On Broad Street, Philadelphia, this is criminal investigation 4+, and a method question. And pass to you for any FaceTime bluffs.
I'm not paying any bluffs at the moment.
Okay. This is incredibly risky, but I'm here for the risk. So we're going to split the team up and send Colton and Hudak to Broad Street, Philadelphia, and Kresge, Hartwell, and Scully to the University of Indiana.
Okay. So where do you want to start?
We're going to start at Broad Street. So this is criminal investigation 4+ method question. And at the moment, we have exactly 4 criminal investigation between Colton and Hudak. And Hudak will trigger for the monos.
Okay, well, you're free to ask your question. I don't have anything for that site.
Okay. So it's a method question. We'll ask, is your method possession?
No, it's not.
Okay. Quick bit of scoring off. Almost missed one there. Right, that's that done. And then moving on to the University of Indiana, and this is one where I know you have a bluff waiting.
Yes. So the bluff is Roy Cohn. So I'm going to, hold on, who do you have on it there? Well, which skill are you?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. In terms of my stat line here for this, I'm trying sciences on this one. Scully is chipping in 3. Hartwell has 2, thanks to being on a team with Scully, and same for Kreisky has 2 because he's on a team with Scully. So just now they have 7 sciences between them.
I'm not going to pay for Roycon because since Kreisky has bureaucracy, I would only, if I played Roycon, I would only increase the prerequisite by 2, which would make it 7, and you do have the 7 with your agents and their combined effects. So yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm not going to pay for that. So you are free to ask your question. I can say now I only had 1 CP card in my hand, so.
Oh, that's a really lucky break for me. Yeah, I thought I was probably being a little too risky with splitting the teams up, so sigh of relief. Motive or result question. I will ask, is your result abduction?
No, it's not.
Okay. Okay, so I will send that site to discard as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to be doing a bit of discarding at the end of this turn. So I'll move to debriefing. Tom Colton will go to the discard pile, and I have to discard 2 cards.
I have 7, so no discard for me.
And my discarded cards are going to be Urschleim Goes Viral and Franklin PA. And pass to you for your turn.
Okay. I'm drawing my free card. I'm going to generate my red, which is 5. And I will not be buying any card. So passing it to you to sell and buy.
Okay. Just 1 card to sell, but it's a good one. I'm going to sell Nurse Owens for 6, plus 2 from Rejuvenating Caves. Is, if I can find the 4 on this dice, is 8 in total, which puts me to 14. And I will go ahead and buy 3 cards here, so it takes me down to 11. 1, 2, 3. And pass back to you for the rest of your turn.
All right, so before I forget, I'm going to use Hostin's token to look at your hand, please.
He's not going to be short of targets here is the good news. So starting with the conspiracy cards, we have Nathaniel Teeger from season 4.
Okay.
Let me know if you want more details on any of these schemes.
What are its activator? Teeger?
So Teeger activates off method sites.
Okay. Okay.
We've got 2 copies of Gnaw the Vampire.
Okay.
Um,
I think the activator is just agent, correct?
just agent, yep. There is 1 copy of Urslime Goes Viral, which is a result site.
Okay.
There is 1 copy of Prince of Darkness, which is motive site activator.
Motive. Okay. Just how many adversaries have you?
There's more. This is the last one, though. I have the Skinhead Man. He activates off of affiliation.
Okay.
And the final conspiracy card in my hand is Nasty Surprise.
Okay.
And then the RP cards in my hand are a Langley and Agent Danny Pendrell.
How much conspiracy do you have?
I have 11 in the conspiracy pool at the moment.
Okay. Okay.
Says Stephen, it's possibly the most adversaries I've ever held in my hand in a game of X-Files. But I really love the season 5 adversaries. I think there's some really cool, fun designs in there. So I was excited to play them, loaded up on them.
Tigger, what are its keywords? Okay, just what is the keyword on Tigger, please? I know he's a really nasty one, Nathaniel Tigger. The keyword is what? Evolutionary?
Yeah, so his keywords are adversary, primordial, creature, master. His activators are conspiracy, methods. He costs 8 to play. LRC of 4, CRC of 3, health of 5. Only agents with observation as a skill may apply their LRC and CRC skills in combat, and he can use subterfuge cards at no cost.
Okay. No.
And whilst Guillaume works out what host he's going to name here, I'll soapbox for a second on this. So not just because of Talgia and everything about Nathaniel Tigger, because he's interested and he's asking about the card, but in X-Files CCG and in card games in general as well. Like, give your opponent that information. It's not like it's not some sort of cunning strategic decision for me to be like, Guillaume, you finished with hosting, and I picked my hand up, so I'm not going to tell you more about Tigger. Like, we all know that Guillaume could just choose to take a minute to go and load up Yost's site and then look up Tigger as a card. Like, so since there were a couple of minutes of dead air there, soapboxing, like, just tell your opponent the information. Don't create some weird mini game where they have to go to a website. Anyway, Guillaume, what would you like to name with hosting?
Well,
yeah, Mike says the don't be a dick rule, right? Yeah, and it makes even less sense in this kind of situation, because I occasionally you see people do it, and you just want to be like, their website's right there, it's not, there's nothing clever going on, right? Anyway, Guillaume, go for it. Name a card.
Let's say Prince of Darkness.
Okay, so Prince of Darkness has been named, and you will get the penalty question if I play it.
I think that's the harder choice, hardest choice that I had to make after a hosting token. Like, usually it's pretty. Maybe you have 2 cards that you're hesitating, but usually it's you know which one you want to negate, to use hosting token for, but like 5 adversaries. Okay, well. All right, we'll see how it goes, and we'll see if I made the right decision. All right, so it was still briefing, so healing, no healing yet. Requisition, no requisition, or maybe. I really wanted to know how much conspiracy points Alastair had, because maybe this time playing it on Nasty Surprise would have eliminated some of the adversaries, but with 11 conspiracies, you have more than enough to pay for at least one of them. Let's see. We're going to for deployment. Everyone stays in the field. For case assignment, we're going to go investigate the Church of St. Peter the Sinner in Virginia. It has the keyword occult investigation, medical, motive, and method. I'm going to use 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 Spiritual Consult token to pay for that card. And I'll wait for any bluffs that you. Well, you don't have any bluffs, so.
Oh, well, I have one, which unsurprisingly I'm going to pop down here.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm not going to use 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 token to look at the bluff because I know what it is. I'm going to send everyone to the site.
And
I'll use...
Sadly, predictably, I will play this nasty surprise to net 3 conspiracy points here. So I will take up to 14 in pool. And can you remind me of the keywords? Sorry, on this one again, Guillaume.
Yeah, so well, it's occult investigation or medical, motive or method. I'm going to use. Okay, I'm going to use medical.
Okay. So. I think I am going to start by paying 6 for a Gnaw the Vampire. So I take that to 8. And Gnaw the Vampire is a new season 5 card. I really love the image that you guys found for this one of him making his attack. 0 long range combat, 3 close range combat, 6 health. Vampires unaffected by long range combat attacks. 1 opposing agent, your choice, is immediately incapacitated and unable to participate in combat until the 2nd round of close range combat. And I'm going to pick Scully for that effect on your team if this creature even resolves here again. So yeah, do you have replies to that?
Well, I do have Burke's token to negate him. So is that unless that's considered like using one of the X or Langley or buyers to negate a season 5 card? But yeah, I do have Burke's token to negate 1 occult adversary.
Oh, Guillaume, I really want to see it play out, though.
I know, but
let's see it happen.
Okay, so
well, it means that Burke is like basically unusable then.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm usually a fan of Burke, and I wouldn't play him in a playtest game, partially for this reason, I think.
Alastair, don't you have like 1 more conspiracy point? You can just play it a 2nd time because you have 2 copies, right?
Yeah, I'm really hoping to gnaw the vampire into Tiger here. So I would be going into a different 8-cost creature after this.
How many conspiracy do you have left after paying the 6 for the Know of the Vampire?
8 exactly. So yeah, this is my plan, that I know the vampire, take out an agent, and then 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 following it up to try and get another one.
This crazy capacity. Right. Okay. So you wanted to. Okay. Let's see. Maybe we can still play that one. So now then, by affected by language, agents, capacity to speak, and so let's say so if 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 cannot participate in combat, so the rest of the agents deal their damage. The Ronnie Strickland deals 3 damage, and then for the second round of combat, all the remaining agents, including 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, can attack him.
That sounds right. Yep. So basically, Noah would have 2 close range attacks at 3 before he is eliminated.
And that's maybe a question for Stephen, but can the agent who is incapacitated, can that agent be the one who receives the 3 damage during the first round?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You would think that might be the obvious way to go. Especially because, it's like he's taking the trouble to give the chlorohydrated laced pizza to a particular agent of, in this case, Alastair's choice. Yeah, you might want to inflict not only the agent with the highest combat rating, and then use that that first close range combat to maybe take out that agent, or maybe reduce their health enough that might be able to get them in the hospital. Yes, you can. In short, you can definitely attack the agent who has been incapacitated, or this is where the strategy comes in, where Alastair could also just like, well, that agent's out of play for this round. Maybe I'll take out a different one, use that opportunity to get one who, a different agent. It's totally Alastair's choice on this one.
Yeah, what I think, knowing how every adversary that you still have and how much TP you still have, I thought there might be a way for me to, if 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 was safe from that round, there might be a way for me to allow now the Vampire to be played. But yeah, if there is a possibility that 𝐗-𝐁 could be killed and sent to the hospital,
yeah, because you summed it up right earlier before I came on, but yeah, if Hosting has 1, Burke has 1, and I forgot, I don't have Krish. He's got 2 on range, right?
He has 2, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so he would be reduced to 2 health in that first round of close range, and then coming back in the second round, which at this point 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 would be able to contribute, even though it's kind of a non-issue, because even if she wasn't contributing, he would still get killed. His 2 health would get reduced easily one way or the other. But at the same time, 𝐗-𝐁-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 would have a total of 6 close range inflicted on her in those 2 rounds, which would send her to the hospital.
Yeah, no, we'll put the 6 on 𝐗-𝐁-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 over those 2 rounds. Yeah.
I'm going to use Burke's token.
Okay, but thank you for nonetheless talking it out, and so we got a picture of how that adversary would have played in the event that the Burke token wasn't brought into effect. Gentlemen or audience tuning in, thoughts on that card? I mean, 6 CP cost, 3 is its close range combat effect, and 6 health. Any thoughts on it or the effect? What say you?
I think the cost is fair, because he does have the activator agent, so he can be played on any site, which is a really powerful thing. In that scenario, even if the team is strong, I have 6 close range. Being able to incapacitate an agent, well, you're basically guaranteed to send an agent to the hospital, which I think for 6 CP it makes sense. I would not play. I would not play. I would not increase the cost. I don't think.
I think, yeah, and when the adversary is played at a site where you pretty much have the entire team, which is usually about 4 or 5 agents, I would say more than likely, unless you got some like 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 or someone, or all the heavy hitter combat agents. Well, 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 can't contribute long range, so nonetheless, you're likely to get either an agent with like 4 or 5 health for sure, or alternately, you could use 𝐗 the Vampire to potentially take out 2 agents with a 3 health cost each. Like in your case, Guillaume, if you were attacked, with which you are, Alastair could alternately hit Hosty and Burke in those 2 rounds, even though they have the least amount of combat that they're contributing. So alternately, in either situation, you can lose a high cost or high health agent, or maybe 2 low health agents, potentially, depending on how the owning player chooses to play this card.
And and the thing that at first I thought 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 was safe for that first round, so I was like, okay, well, let's play the 𝐗 of the Vampire because 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 will be safe, because basically 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 is my guarantee that I will be able to negate that Nathaniel figure because she has quick quag. But if she's in the hospital, then the rest of the team is well, helpless against Tigger. So that's why
it comes down to 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 being able to take out Nathaniel Tigger, an invisible assassin. Isn't that just all the X-Files fans, I'm sure, watching are just loving that, right?
Yeah, it's
feels pretty. Mike D says that he thinks that 𝐗 the Vampires are too powerful for 6. What if, Mike, and then the 2 of you gentlemen as well, what if we change the agent activator to something more along the lines of like a site activator, where you method site, affiliation site? Would that make it a little more appropriate? What say you?
Then you risk that you have the risk that, well, that's true for many adversaries. It's like you find yourself with adversaries and you're unable to play them because your opponent does not play the correct site. So there are some that allow you to change the keywords, or some bluffs that allow you to play certain adversaries. But I think, just thinking out loud, maybe the alternative would be to drop his close range attack to 2. Maybe because it will be able to deal a total of 4 damage during the 2 rounds of close range, so that enough to send at least 1 agent, because most agents have a health of 4.
Except for like Mulder or 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 would still be able to remain on the field after that.
For instance, it would still be enough to, like with my team, it would still be enough to send Burke, Hostin, or 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 to the hospital, and most teams have at least 1 or 2 agents with a health of 4, so maybe that would be the way to go. And I guess it would make sense because he does have 4th vampire teeth, so he would only be able to do 2 damage. I think we have to, well, we'll keep, it's like we can make a note of it and see. It will probably come up during future playtests.
Yeah, the hemming and hawing over cost is probably the least enjoyable facet of playtesting, because it oftentimes just boils down to opinions. But nevertheless, it is worth noting that it did arise, and I am making a note as a question that has arisen. Alastair, you've been pretty quiet at this point. While I'm making a note, did you have any thoughts you wanted to contribute?
Did I miss something there?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I was wondering if you had any input on 𝐗 the Vampire cost, activator.
Yeah, I can see like tinkering with it in some respect to weaken it slightly. I think like all the suggestions are good that have been made here, like playing around with the close range combat stat, adding adding an activator that isn't as broad as agent. Maybe playing around with the cost, although I think this set has like a couple of 8-cost adversaries in it, so I think I might avoid increasing the cost on this one by too much. Maybe trying it out as a 7 or something. But yeah, I think maybe just the activator is like the way to go. Like just put a conventional activator on it.
Well, here's a question that Mike's raising his next comment here has me asking you guys, what do you think, and this is probably not one I'm expecting an answer right off the top of your heads, but what do you think is an appropriate cost for an adversary that's potentially capable of taking out 2 agents?
8. I don't know. Like,
well, I mean, we've seen Patnick team wipe in the tournament, right?
Joseph Patnick is like exactly. It's like, well, I got my 4 CP right here, and I can do pretty well against the team. Let's say, okay, let me be more specific. The cost of an adversary that can take out 2 low health agents with like 3 health.
Well, but I think there's also a question here about, is it okay to have pushed cards in the set? Like in any given X-Files set, is it okay to have pushed cards in the set, meaning that they're deliberately slightly above the power level of the rest of the game. So like Deep Throat would be a pushed card in Premier set. Patnick's a good example, I think, of a pushed card from Truth Is Out from 1013. And I think it's fine, to have you don't want to break the game, but to have a couple of cards in a set that are better than your average card. So you probably want to keep an eye on them not being too many of them, but I don't think No the Vampire is completely egregious as a pushed card for a set.
Well said. And I think it's worth noting that because we have such extreme examples with the commercially released adversaries, such as Joseph Patnick, but then at the very opposite end of that spectrum, you have the Alien Bounty Hunter with its 12 costs that gets destroyed in long range by most teams without even being able to inflict such damage on I think for adversaries, it's pretty hard to iron out a cost that for adversaries because their effects are so unique from one to the next, that it's often hard to hammer out a cost that I think is going to be, like you said, Alastair, that's not going to be too much of a game breaker. With cards like with events and stuff like in bluffs, I think oftentimes it's a little bit easier. And as you said, I agree. Deep Throat, definitely a push card. Adversaries, it's just one of those. It's just so hard because they run the gamut with all their effects, and the costs are so widely varied, and they make no sense sometimes when you really look at like why with Squeeze and Hunter in the Dark, which have the same effect, long-range combat round is skipped. The difference being is that Hunter in the Dark has 4 close range, while Squeeze has 3 close range. That is the only difference between those 2 adversaries, yet one of them costs 3 CP and one costs 7 CP. It's crazy that with the distinction of just 1 extra close range value to 1 card skill, that you can up the costs by that much. It is very, very difficult to really zero in on what's a respectable cost versus the adversary's combat skill values as well as his effect combined together. So I think as we went through with the season 4 playtesting, and I don't remember it coming up too much during the Fight the Future playtesting. I think we just often yielded to like a majority vote on that oftentimes. And thankfully, Guillaume, as you know, last time we only had like 4 people playtesting this. We have a larger base of playtesters to potentially weigh in on that. So, and Mike has one more point. It's definitely not a broken card. It just seems like an auto add to any deck. And I'm inclined to agree, especially when you have an activator of agent, which means it can get played at any time. And so for me, at this moment in time, while I'm not inclined to make any decisions until maybe we've had more time to reflect on it. My focus on where we might potentially be looking to revise this card might lie in the activator, because maybe that is just making it's too easy of an adversary to play, combined with the fact that you can potentially get one really strong agent or two low health agents with this particular one. So there's some areas where some revisions can occur, but let's digest it and then see what we can talk about either post game and of course in our Discord community. And I also want to thank Mr. Dax Golding, who again we have no shortage of praise and thanks and gratitude to extend to you for making it so that we can playtest these cards. Thank you so much for tuning in, Dax. It seemed to be quite easily negated. Yeah, being as an occult adversary, and Burke is a common inclusion in agent teams, not only because he's got 4 computer, but yes, he can take out one of the 5 affiliations potentially assigned to adversaries. Yeah.
But second copy, I don't have any more Burke tokens. So.
It is true. And Alastair's got no shortage of adversaries in that hand.
No shortage of CPs either, so.
Excellent.
So I think as someone who's new to the playtesting experience, and this is my first playtest game for X-Files CCG, I was skeptical coming in about the idea of don't counter the new season cards. I think that cards countering is such a big part of the game that I question how thoroughly you're testing the cards if you aren't allowed to counter them. And I think
𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 and X and all that.
So yeah, of course you'll have the disappointment of seeing cards that will get discarded that you would love to see their effect, but over the course of a game and over the course of a playtest season, things will find they'll the gaps, they'll find the moments to strike, and you'll get a more realistic idea of, for example, would we have had that conversation in the way we did about Gnaw the Vampire if it had just been negated with no question of it? You know, if we hadn't done that little walkthrough on damage, and it's good that we did have that conversation about it, but it's a very artificial situation that you wind up being in to have those talks. So personally, I think I would probably remove the rule about not countering new season cards, because I think it gives you a playtest that is a better reflection of the game as a whole, and it means that you're thinking about these cards in a very real context for how a game plays out. And I'm particularly concerned for tournament play in the future if you don't test with counters and stuff being negate cards being live. I see the thinking that you want to see the effect, you want to be able to get into how the cards work, and you don't want to stifle that. And I totally understand that perspective, but just personally, I think it's worth, when I presume you guys bringing in new testers want to hear if people have a different take or would do it differently. And I think this situation is a really good example of that, where I think that a really not great situation at all to be in is I'm not going to counter it unless I really care about it, and then actually I will counter it. This is kind of like the worst of both worlds of having that playtest rule. So I think I would be tempted, not for maybe for this season, but in the future, to try a playtest season where it's open season on Langleying or 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬ing the new cards as well, and just accepting that whilst you'll lose the chance to scrutinize them in the same way, you'll have that more of a real world feel of how they play out in the game, and you'll also be able to have that thinking as well of, okay, well, some of these cards are going to be susceptible to counters when we see them outside of playtests, and maybe that changes how we think about them. So just throwing in my 2 cents, because I mean, it would, in this situation, it would be with Tigre, it would be a team kill against Guillaume, and it just changes so much. So much of the perspective on the conversation around the cards, putting an artificial hand in and moving it.
Well, I don't think we have to wait till the next expansion to do that. Guillaume, I am inclined to forego that rule as long as the playtesters agree to also talk out the alternate timeline in the course of that. So like as we just did here, you two went ahead and talked out what would happen in the course of a combat taking place with that adversary, and then ultimately you decide choosing to just use the Berg token. I'm fine if we want to do it that way, and as long as we get an understanding of how the card's effect would occur if a negate card or token wasn't available in that moment. Is that acceptable?
I think that's a really nice compromise, right, Stephen? Where it's possible, where there's a really a clear line of how a card would play out. It's a really awesome way to have your cake and eat it. Of you discuss how it would work, and you say that it is being countered, and then you get the best of both worlds, where you get to see the possibility, but also you get to have that real game experience of saying, well, but actually we get the perspective on what happens with it being sent away as well. So that sounds like a really neat solution to that, actually, for playtesting. I like it.
Yeah,
what do you think, Guillaume?
Yeah, I agree with Alastair. And if I remember correctly, when we started playtesting season 4, we did not have that rule, and I think we put it in place after maybe 5 or 6 games where we were desperately trying to play the pickup brother, then somehow they would always get negated. And we were like, here we are at playtest 7 or 8, and there are still some cards that we have not seen being played. So from now on, we are not negating season 4 cards because we want to see them play out. But I do agree that in a real game, Langley will be there, Frohiki will be there, X also. So you do have to put these season 5 cards in real life situation, in real game situation anyway. So I agree. I think you're like, okay, these adversaries, this is what it would do. Does that make sense? Is it too much? This bluff, is it too powerful? And you can either negate it or you can't.
All right. Yeah. I'm fine with that. Yeah. And like I said, just and again, I'll convey that to all the other playtesters. You can use those negate cards because again, you don't want to. I see the logic now is because you don't want to have, like, in a traditional deck building, you oftentimes are including those cards, and in a playtest game, I wouldn't want people to be discouraged from including them otherwise, because obviously this is intended to reflect what people would be doing when they're building their decks, and they would be obviously going to those cards. So yes, again, as long as you guys talk it out and we get a sense of, like, is the card viable? Great. Let's make the choice and then negate it and continue on. Works for me.
And also, I think that, like, in some instances, we might see an adversary being played, but if the and not being negated. But if the adversary wipes out the whole team, then the other player might not get the opportunity to play some of the cards that he had in his hand. And so it's like you maybe play one card and not negate it, but then it also prevents the other player from playing maybe 2 or 3 cards that he had in his hand now cannot play because his team is in the hospital and he cannot investigate anything for like 2 or 3 turns. So it's, I agree. I think it's a great suggestion.
That's a great point, Guillaume. Yeah, the kind of, there's often unknowables about when something, when you move to stop something happening, the knock-ons and stuff as well. But Stephen's super elegant solution to just talk it out where possible, and then let the negate happen. So yeah, awesome.
Okay, so that is our stipulation going forward. Well said. So we've not only looked at potential ways to refine the card, but also the playtest game as a whole. Awesome. Good start to this new expansions playtesting. And I'm going to head backstage so you guys can continue on, unless we got another adversary coming into play. I might be right back.
Yeah. Okay. So the first now of the vampire was discarded, but
he's off to the discard pile, and we've definitely talked through the potentials with him. But let me just have a quick look here and see what the situation is with. Sorry, it's been so long since this started. Can you remind me what the skill check is on the site?
Occult investigation. The keywords on the site are occult investigation, medical, motive, or method. And the skill I'm using is medical.
Okay, cool. And am I right to? So I think my play here is still actually to play 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬.
Remember that I do
𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 just squishes an adversary in
primordial.
general, right?
It's discard to negate any one primordial or evolutionary adversary.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to get past 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 at some point. So we'll play 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 and let 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 do his thing.
Okay, well, so 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 is discarded, and
𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 will head up to the discard pile. And I think I'm having some connection problems here, by the way. So my apologies if I'm not hearing everything clearly.
Okay.
You're clear for a question, so go ahead.
All right. So it's motive or method. So you already know your motive. So is your method threats?
It is threats, yes.
Okay. If I did not make any mistake, I have you down to 4. Yes, 05. No, 4. Okay. I'm not taking an identity question.
Okay.
So the site is discarded, and for debriefing, I have 7 cards.
And I only have 6, but I'm going to voluntarily discard Prince of Darkness because I'm really horrible at remembering the hosting tokens. So just to save myself in the future, I'll send that to the discard pile. And if you're good, I will start my turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I will start by drawing a card. And making some resource points. So still 5 from the team, 2 from friend in the FBI for a total of 7. Takes me up to 9 in the resource pool. And I need to draw some cards here. I think I'm going to go ahead and draw 5. So that will take me down to 4 in the res pool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I will pass to you again for selling and buying for conspiracy.
I'm going to sell the Alien Stiletto for 5 and the Walter PPK for 4. A total of 9 puts me at 17. And
wow.
Still not as much as David could do because he's been known to have over 20 conspiracy points. And I'm going to buy 5 cards. 4 cards. Yeah, 4 cards. Or 5. And that's the final word. And back to you.
Okay, since it seems as good a time as any to do this, can I do this? I can only play 1 copy of a card of a certain name in a turn, right?
I think you can play. I think you cannot have 2 of the same card in play at the same time. But since you play the first one, it's discarded. Then you can play your second copy.
Okay, so
yeah, that's how it would rule. So.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to go slightly mad with this hard evidence here. So first one would net me 3, and then the second one would net me another 3, unless you want to counter either of them again.
No, that's fine.
So I get a big boost in res up to 10. But that is where the good news ends for my turn, because I failed to draw a site, and I do not have a site in hand, so I'll be moving straight to debriefing. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in hand, and I will be discarding a Rejuvenating Caves and my other Prince of Darkness before I slip up and get Osteen down.
And I have 10 cards, so I need to discard 3 cards. I'm going to discard. Okay, I'm going to discard First Aid, Grid Parent Search, and Y Camp, Air Force Base, West Virginia. Well, three cards, and I have 7 in my hand. Yeah, 7. So, all right. So
okay. When you're ready, go for it.
Okay. So I'm drawing my free card. I'm going to generate my res, which is 5. And I'm going to buy just 1 card and passing it to you.
I'm going to sell an interagency luncheon for 1, and I get 2 from Rejuvenating Caves, which will put 3 in my conspiracy pool. And I will buy a single card with that and pass to you.
Okay. I'm going to play Reading the Signs for 0. Play on the team in the field to make a occult investigation 4+, and I can take 2 tokens from your conspiracy pool to add them to my resource pool.
My conspiracy pool is empty.
You had only 2?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's good.
Yes, a very effective reading of the signs.
Yes, it's too bad that I only have 1 site in my hand. But okay. Right. So no healing, no requisition for deployment. So everyone stays there. We're going to go investigate the Tabros Community Hospital for 1. Medical or sciences. I'm going to use sciences. And
I have nothing to stop you. So you're clear for a question here.
So method or result. Is your result manipulation?
It is manipulation, yes.
Okay, so I have you down to 2. I'm not taking an identity question. Okay. So the site is gone. Yeah, I think that was the most effective use of reading the signs that I've ever seen. I have 7. How many cards do you have?
Debriefing. I'm on 7 exactly.
Okay, 7 as well. So passing it to you.
Okay, so I'd start by drawing a free card. Generate resource points. I get 2 from friend in the FBI, 5 from the team, so I got up to 17 in the pool. I am going to draw 6 cards here, which will put me back down to 11. And I will pass to you, Guillaume.
Right, so I'm going to sell the shotgun for 6 and make history for 5 for a total of 11, puts me at 23. And I'm going to buy 6 cards. And back to you.
Oh, Stephen says that John Wood had a really good reading of the science play during the tourney. That absolutely sounds right. That sounds. I don't remember the exact. Was that in my game with him, Stephen, or just in one of the tournament games? But it does ring a bell. Okay. So no healing for me. No requisition. Deployment. I'm so excited. I haven't played this card in. Oh, never mind. Deployment. I'm going to pay 6. I'm going to 5. To bring Danny Pandrell to the team for a turn. And a case assignment. Pay 2 for an abandoned bus terminal, Revere, Massachusetts. That's criminal investigation 4+ an affiliation question, and then pay another 2 for University of Maryland, Baltimore, criminal investigation 4+ no result question. Do you have any bluffs to throw down at the end?
No bluffs.
Okay, so we'll send Pandrell and Hudak to Maryland and Hartwell, Kresge, and Scully to the bus terminal and start investigations at Maryland with Pandrell and Hudak. Oh, and Hudak's going to earn 1 resource point from being a monocyte. And the breakdown on these guys is just 2 criminal investigation each, so they're just barely passing the test here.
Yeah. Okay, so I have 1 bluff, which I'm going to play face up. I'm going to pay 3 to play Jason Ludwig to change the side prerequisite to behavioral 3+.
Okay, and I will spend my last 2 to play Langley to negate that bluff.
And that's it for this site. So you are free to ask your. It was affiliation result, correct?
Result, yeah.
Okay, you're free to ask your question.
Okay, is your result physiological?
No.
Okay. Okie dokie. I will send that to the discard pile and move on to investigating this abandoned bus terminal. So criminal investigation 4+ again. Hartwell chips in 2. Kresge chips in 2, and Scully also adds 2 for a total of 6 between them.
Yeah, I have nothing, unfortunately. Like all these resource, all this conspiracy, all these cards, and nothing. Like I have 2 adversaries in my hand, and none of them have the correct. I have the conspiracy pool to pay for them. I'm dying to pay for them, but they don't have the correct activators. So you are free to ask your question.
Okay, lucky break for the team. Affiliation question. Guillaume, is your affiliation alien?
No, it's not.
Okay. I will send the bus terminal to the discard pile, and I will send Agent Pendrell to the discard pile, and go to debriefing. And I have way too many cards in my hand.
Yeah, me too. I have 10.
So
like, there is one card that I've had since several turns, and I don't think I'll be able to play, but I cannot discard it, so I'll just keep it until the end, and hopefully I'll be able to use it.
I am very, very sadly going to discard both my copies of Blight. I don't think I'm going to get to play it before the game ends, and 1 copy of Friend in the FBI.
Okay. So I'm going to discard Nurse Rebecca Waite, the Syndicate's Dilemma, and Stiletto for Hire. And yeah. And I have 7 cards in my hand. It's even more, it breaks my heart even more than it usually does to have to discard some of those new cards. All right, so
yeah, I hear you absolutely. I was so excited to play Blight, but it just wasn't a picky. So with that, I will pass it over for your turn.
I'm drawing my free card. I'm going to generate my res, which is 5, puts me at 16. And I'm going to buy just 1 card. Yeah. And back to you. You're free to sell and buy.
Sorry, I think my internet dropped.
Yeah.
My internet dropped. You've done all the stuff.
Yes, I generated my res and I
all the stuff your turn. Yep. Okay, so
it's your turn. You can sell and buy.
Okay. So I'm going to discard a Nurso and a shotgun. That'd be 12, and then the last 2 from Rejuvenating Caves is 14. And I will buy 2 cards, drops me to 12. So 2 to hand, and then pass back to you for the rest of your turn.
Okay, so no healing, no requisition. Everyone stays in the field. Once again, I forgot to add the token back on spiritual consoles. So deployment, everyone stays where they are. And for case assignment, we are going to go to Amos Beach, Maine. Yeah, I was blanking on the name of the state. I always think it's New England, but it's Maine. It costs 1, and I'm using Spiritual Consults token to pay for it. So it's Occult Investigation or Observation, Affiliation, and Method.
Okay. I will. I'm going to put 2 FaceTime bluffs on this side.
Yeah. So I'm going to use 2 of Scully's remaining tokens to look at those bluffs.
Okay, so we've got Roy Cohn, which is actually the one you played earlier. I also really love this card from the new set. So 4 costs to play, increases site prerequisite by 1 point for each agent without a bureaucracy skill value. In addition, if the team fails the site skill check, your opponent must discard 1 active card from their hand. And then security checkpoint, which I think you also played earlier in the game as well, which is play this card to prevent all agents from contributing their skills to this site, except agents with a subterfuge skill value of 1+.
All right, so if you play both of those cards, then Roy Cohn adds 1, 2, 3 to the skill check, so it will be 8. And the other one, any agents without subterfuge skill cannot contribute their skills. So that's okay. What are the keywords on those cards?
Yeah, we've got keywords on security checkpoint are bluff, conspiracy, and government. And the keywords on Cohn are bluff, government, and bureaucracy.
Okay. And it goes 4 and 3, correct?
Yep, and obviously I've got them face down, so it would be 3 and 2, I guess, in the situation.
5. And how many CP do you have?
I have 12 at the moment.
Okay, so you would still have 7.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a choice, so we'll see how that goes. I'm sending everyone to the site, and let's go.
Okay, so pay 5, which drops me to 7 conspiracy. And I guess start with Roy Cohn happening first as a bluff here.
Okay. So I'm going to use occult investigation, by the way.
Okay.
So it's occult investigation 5+. I currently have... So I currently have 7. So Roy Cohn increases the skill check from 5 to 8 because only Kreisky has a bureaucracy skill.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So the skill check is now 8. So since you have that second bluff, you've already paid for the bluff.
Yes, yeah, pay for both of them together there.
Okay, so is it like, since at that point I cannot make the skill check, do I have to immediately play a card that would allow me to make the skill check, a witness, for instance, or do I wait until you've played your second bluff before I play any cards that...
I think you can. I think you can wait. It depends, of course, what rules rules we were playing as to technically how this would work out. But I think in either case, regardless of what kind of rules we were using, you would be good to just wait till I had used that second effect as well.
Okay, well, I'm going to wait then.
Yeah, so security checkpoint does its thing and prevents agents without subterfuge from contributing their skills.
So it prevents agents with the subterfuge, or only agents with the subterfuge can contribute?
Play this card to prevent all agents from contributing their skills to this site except agents with a subterfuge skill value of 1 plus. Yeah.
Okay. So Hostin has a subterfuge skill of 2+, so he can contribute. The other 3 agents don't have any subterfuge, so they cannot contribute their skills to any skill checks, correct?
Yeah. It just says from contributing their skills to this site.
Okay. Well, maybe you can ask Steven then.
No, and actually, I'm really, really glad you guys brought this up, because this is a note that I made earlier when Guillaume, you played security checkpoint, and it was a question I was going to bring up at the end as to whether or not, as it currently exists, this card says that all the agents at this site cannot contribute their skills to the site. And now I was wondering earlier, and I wrote it down, as to whether or not I should revise it to say that, like I do with other cards, like the BATF refuses to play ball, and from season 4, no trespassing, all skill checks occurring at this site. So that's something I have to consider. But as it currently stands, it says play this card to prevent all agents from contributing their skills to this site.
Okay, so for now, if there was an adversary being played, the 4 agents could contribute, but only Hostin can contribute to the site
skill check, as it's currently written. But now, as of this point, I'm also beginning to rethink that, and so maybe we can discuss the alternatives. Should I just revise it to have the same wording as like BATF refuses to play ball and no trespassing, which says all skill checks occurring at this site, which would
or reduce, if you keep the game effect as it is, maybe reduce the cost to 2, to be fair.
Yeah. I'm thinking, of course, like a security checkpoint, like obviously, like you picture like there's a big fence built up around your site, so your agents can't go to it, right? And so the ones that do get it, like the ones that aren't able to get it past the security checkpoint, it's like, what use are they contributing their skills from outside the fence, as opposed to like the ones who do have the subterfuge, they're able to get in, they can contribute to anything. So it's kind of my thought process. I'm like putting up a fence around the site in this case, and just thinking what would be the best way to go. So food for thought. I'm kind of like, currently I'm leaning towards making it say all skill checks occurring at this site. The cost of it is currently 3, which matches the cost of BATF refuses to play ball, and the same matches the cost of no trespassing. So all the more reason why. But you make a good point, Guillaume. I could always lower the costs to 2 if I just want to limit it to the site skill check alone, which is fair. Just like
it makes more sense. Like the way you explained it, it makes more sense. Like the security checkpoint prevents some agents from going to the site. So basically, it's like core troubles. It's like the agents remain in the team, but they cannot contribute their skills.
Right. What about you, Alastair?
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I can both perspectives. I can see the case for lowering it the cost by 1 to have the slightly less impactful effect, but I see your thought process as to why it is the way it is. So let's look at both
scenarios while we have this card in play. So let's say so we proceed hypothetically with it as it's written on the card. So as it stands, the agents can't contribute to the site skill check, but they can contribute to other skills. What's going to happen next, Guillaume?
Well, I do have a witness that can help me with that skill check. So I'm going to play 1 card that will allow me to. I'm just going straight. I have 2 options for witnesses, but the one I'm going to use the season 5 one. I have a pathologist, Vicky Bellon. Yeah. So change the requisite to occult investigation 3+. So
beautiful.
Hostin has 4 that allows him to contribute. I'm going to pay 3.
Okay. So because Hostin, let's see. So Hostin has subterfuge of 2, so so the security checkpoint means he's still able to contribute to the site skill check. The witness No, I mean, the witness isn't prevented one way or the other from contributing, regardless of the wording on security checkpoint. So I guess when you think about like what other skill checks would be occurring at the site at this point, when this is a bluff, you play it face down, it gets played face up, paid for. So this is what's happening first, and this has to get resolved really before we move on to like playing like adversaries or other events. So if we keep the card's wording as it is, so like the adversary gets played, then the agents who are not, or the agents who are hindered by the security checkpoint would still theoretically get to use their combat skills at this point. So apparently they're firing through the fence at this point at the adversary. I was gonna.
Yeah, it does make a difference there, because if you prevent the agents from contributing to any skill checks, then basically in this scenario, Austin is by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that any adversary will kill him. Basically.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
I get that would be a good time to have all lies lead to the truth, but I don't have that card in my hand. It is in my deck somewhere, but I don't have it, because Austin basically investigates the site by himself, and the witness has contributed to the site. So,
and I'm especially interested in seeing that particular card, given how many times Dax unfortunately had to revise that one. So I hope we do at some point see that card get played. That's a note for any of the playtesters watching it. Please include that card. All right. So at this point, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but even if the other agents can contribute to a combat, if Alastair plays an adversary, Alastair will probably target Austin, and since he has a health of, he will probably be killed anyway. So I guess it does not make much difference. So maybe in spirit of keeping that card aligned with the other cards like FT, etc., maybe just say all skill checks.
So let's look at a scenario where, let's say Alastair next played well, it's not going to be a great example, but he could play like authorized access only, which has a subterfuge 4 skill check required in order to make that. But again, kind of a moot point in this case, because only agents with subterfuge are able to contribute anyway. So, computer access denied, Forza. Oh, well, actually, this is interesting. Here we go. Alastair then pays 2 to play computer access denied, which forces a computer 4 skill check. At this point in time, Burke is outside the fence, but by the current wording on this card, he would be able to contribute to that skill check because it's not a site skill check. So again, there's a scenario that, as the card's currently existing, that would sort of create that issue of like, well, again, thinking about it in terms of like whether that fence exists, but he's nonetheless able to contribute from outside that. I like the example where you brought up of car troubles, because I think that kind of best illustrates the whole idea of like agents who are hampered from contributing to the site skill check are also not allowed to contribute to anything, which, I mean, I don't think we have any cards that in the commercially released set that are limited to just the site skill check. Do we?
Well, we have maybe laser barrier is the only example where you will choose one skill check and you will basically choose the site skill check.
That's true. We do have laser barrier. And what does that one cost? Like 1 or 2 or something like that? 1. Yeah. And that's only one agent, though. Yeah. Worth noting. Okay, so there is some precedent for that. And I'm just referring to that one really quick. Oh, good old laser barrier. The most widely contested card of the commercially released set, right next to, I don't know, UTL. Play to prevent one agent assigned to a site from contributing the agent's skills to one skill check. It's just one skill check. Invariably, we go for the site skill check most often, unless we're trying to play some kind of strategy by saying, combat, as a prelude to an adversary attack. But usually we go for the site skill check on that. But it's one site skill check, choice made by the conspiracy player for a cost of 2, which is 1 less than this card, as well as the other 2 bluffs that are included in here. So again, something else so to consider. So laser barriers preventing just one skill check by one agent versus, these 3 cost bluffs that are preventing, all skill checks occurring at that site. Although, as I said, we've established that with no trespassing in this previous season. And yeah, we also have the BATF card also in this set. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I'd say just change it for whenever we end up doing the final version of the card, just change it to any skill checks occurring at the site, just to be
consistent.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Alastair?
Yeah, I agree. I think it just helps player comprehension as well.
Okay.
I like a good clean card that you can read, and you don't have to sort of have any outside knowledge of how people have decided that. Because laser bar is actually a really good example of a card where the wording is obviously, which much discussed. There's some ambiguity in the wording on that card, and whilst we came to a good agreement on how it was going to be played, I would lean towards trying to not use that language again on future cards, just to help player comprehension.
And if anyone who has not been part of our Discord group and saw that long-winded debate go on, just take my word for it. It went on for so long that I'm like that argument, or that point that Alastair just made, is pretty much sealing this decision for me at this point. I don't want a repeat of that ever again, and I'm pretty sure anyone else involved is also inclined to agree. And it's actually because Dax already has another. Dax already has another change he's got to make to that card anyway, because I noticed that one of the irrelevant articles in the title, the word BATF refuses to, the word to is capitalized, and that needs to be, decapitalized, as we traditionally do for all those irrelevant articles in titles, for bluffs anyway, because they're not all caps like some of the other card types. So he's got to fix that anyway. But that's more of a cosmetic thing anyway. So now he's got 2 things to fix on this card. So he's probably not even watching at this point, but I'll send him that one. But yeah, we're most likely going to be making those 2 changes to it going forward. I mean, we'll still continue with the playtesting with the card text as it's written, because obviously I think this is a card that is going to get repeatedly used, just based on the fact you guys both included this one in your decks, and I think you guys at least included. You guys both had 2 copies, potentially. At least one of you has 2 copies of that one. So I foresee this card is going to get repeatedly used over the course of the other upcoming playtests, which is good. So we'll get more feedback on it. But I think at this point, Alastair's point, his last point, was more than enough to convince me that I think we just want to avoid maybe rehashing a bit of that laser barrier argument alone. So, but we'll let it play out as it is, even though I will inform each of the playtesters when they rises that, yeah, I'm changing that to all skill checks occurring at that site, because again, it does actually simplify things a bit, because I don't want to have to think about, well, okay, someone's not able to contribute to the site skill check, but they can still contribute like all to anything else, combat or anything else that's going on. That really does kind of muddle things a little bit, especially if an adversary gets played, in this situation. So I like the idea of just keeping it simpler if possible.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, cool. Let's Dax says, "Oh, ye of little faith." Yes, Dax is still awake at this point. What time is it over there, by the way, for you guys? Because I think he's on the same time zone, at least. Guillaume, I think, or no, Alastair, he should be on the same time as you, right?
Quarter to 11 for me, and quarter to midnight for Guillaume.
Well, it is the weekend after all. So anyway, guys, I'm going to head back and so let you guys continue on. All right, great discussion.
Okay, so after that speculation,
yeah. So the site skills. Yeah.
Sorry, Guillaume, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So the site prerequisite is now Occult Investigation 3+, and Hosting has 4. So are there any other cards that you'd like to play?
I am going to play an adversary, as was speculated on in that conversation. So pay 6 for this one, drops me to 1 in conspiracy pool, and it's not the vampire again. So just a quick recap: long range 0, close range 3, health 6. The vampire is unaffected by long range combat attacks. 1 opposing agent, your choice, is immediately incapacitated and unable to participate in combat until the second round of close range combat.
And good news, Berg does not have any more tokens, so I have no way to negate that adversary. So we're going to combat.
Yeah, and so we will stop Scully contributing to close range.
On her to show that she cannot contribute. So I'm dealing 4 damage to Ronnie Strickland.
And he will deal 3 damage to Hosteen.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
And then second
round, the other 3 agents, well, the 3 remaining agents deal 5 close range damage to Ronnie Strickland.
He is very dead, but before he goes, he will put 3 damage on Burke.
Okay. So combat is over, and both Burke and Hosteen go to the hospital. Well, I'm going to, well, before they go to the hospital, I'm going to, let's see. Hold on. No, they both go to the hospital. That's fine. Okay. So now only Scully and Kresge remain on the team. The skill check, the side skill check is still occult investigation 3+. Scully has 1 occult investigation and Kresge has none. I'm going to pay 3 to play Melissa Scully.
Yeah, but before you,
oh,
just to keep in mind that the bluffs are still in effect as well. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, that is true. Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm going to use my other strategy then. So let's say they are still in the field for now, and I'm going to call for help. I'm paying 4 to call for help, and we'll see if there is 1 card, because I know that I have at least one healing card, and I thought I could use it, and I could not. But maybe I have another one. Let's see.
Okay.
Because the healing card that I was thinking about can only be played on agents in the hospital. But maybe I have another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So I'm going to shuffle my deck. And so I have Father 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬. So I think because when we play once combat is over, well, maybe I cannot do this. Let's bring Steven in maybe, because I do have the question. So combat is over, and at that point, Burke and Hosteen are supposed to be moved to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, can I play event cards, or can I only play event cards after Burke and Hosteen have been sent to the hospital?
I think they're supposed to go immediately to the hospital. It's that since that's in an area that's not. I mean, like yes, like they're supposed to like even though they're out of the combat during the combat subroutine, they're not contributing, but they don't get moved. Like oftentimes, what we do is we move them during the combat subroutine, but we're supposed to wait until like we're out of that, and then we move all the ones who were had their health reduced to 0. Then they get moved to the hospital. I would think that in order to play a healing card, I think it might have to, it might have to say Janice's token or something like that. It says this may be used to prevent an agent from going to the hospital. I think that stipulation might need to be expressed on the card, right, in order for it to immediately prevent an agent from getting moved. Do you concur?
I don't know, because I think we have. I'm trying to find that card. We do have a card this season in the Fight the Future expansion. Well, unless it has been changed, but oh no, it's the agent is in the hospital, so no, doesn't make any difference. Sorry.
Well, that's good that you're thinking of this one that's about to be released, because we might be avoiding a potential issue that we didn't spot during playtest.
What about True Grit, for instance?
Okay, let me pull that one up. True Grit.
But True Grit, it's play when an agent is forced to go to the hospital. He must still go by the end of the turn. But he may add his skill to one skill check before going. So basically,
forced to go to the hospital. So this could be as a result of like injured relative, bluff, or adversary attack. Play when an agent is forced to go to the hospital. He must still go by the end of this turn.
So this would be a point where if I had True Grit, this would be the point in the
for sure.
Meaning that even though the agents have not been sent to the hospital yet, you can still play an event.
But it is telling you specifically when to play it, though. Like True Grit is outlining that. This is the point when to play it when the agent is about to be sent to the hospital. What you're wanting to play? What, Father McHugh from season 4, right?
Yes.
Let me just refer to that one.
Play on agent in the field or hospital.
Can I chip in a quick summary? I see this while you're reading over here. So the question here is about the timing window. When a timing window exists that you can play a card like this. And Stephen is pointing out that there's precedent in the game for rules text saying a window is created, this card can be played here at this point in the game cycle. And from how it might work from the other point of view, is to say, okay, but maybe it's just okay to play events during combat anyway. Maybe some sort of window of opportunity exists before an agent goes to the hospital that allows for events to be played, even if the stipulating rules text isn't there. I'm providing a summary, not an answer. But just to outline what I see as the issue here.
Yeah, it's does the meet Mulder, I was just reading the example. Mulder's immediately moved to the hospital, may not contribute to this. The question is, does Father McHugh giving the text on that card allow him to immediet's step in the when an agent's health has been reduced to 0? Maybe I guess. Well, what do you think?
because what you would hope to see on that card is the same kind of wording that you see on True Grit and the other example that you gave, Stephen, where it has that line of text which says, when an agent is being sent to the hospital, because that would put it beyond doubt. And otherwise, you're back to the question of since it doesn't have that, you're then on the question of, is there just an opportunity during combat before an agent would go to the hospital to play event cards? And this is one where you have to be mindful that if you're setting the precedent that you can play Father McHugh here as an event, that you're opening the gates to the idea of, well, you can play other event cards into this situation before things are moved to the hospital.
I think it would be different if someone wanted to play Father McHugh between the long-range combat and the close-range combat. That would be at this point. It's like combat has been done. Hosting could attribute his skills to the close-range combat run. Burke has taken all damage during the close-range combat, so they are both out. And at that point, is combat over at that point, or does combat end when the injured agents are sent to the hospital? Or does combat ends once the adversary is negated or defeated or reduced to 0 health?
Playing agent.
I'm keeping Father McHugh in my hand and not playing him, and I'll play him during my next briefing phase. But just it's maybe useful to, and we don't have to decide tonight. For tonight we can just say, okay, I cannot play him, and we'll just move on, and that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just go ahead.
Where was it? You came across the word immediately, which is an interesting word in this.
Oh yeah, page 34. But I was looking at all the commercially released healing cards. Of course, really most of them are played while they're agents in the hospital, like medical treatment or successful diagnosis. Medikit and Agent Janice are like the two where it says this may prevent an agent from going to the hospital. White Buffalo, you may remove one game effect token or wound token from any cards under your control. I guess kind of the same question that we're placing on Father McHugh would probably also be placed on the White Buffalo card. Can it interrupt an agent from being moved to the hospital? Any thoughts before I just be like, I guess I'm also taking on the role of judge as opposed to being the one who's just weighing in on his intent of the cards written by me. But what do you guys think?
Well, seeing White Buffalo, if I had White Buffalo, I would say it's okay to, at that point, to remove one game effect token or one wound token from one of your cards. It would be okay for me to, if I had White Buffalo, I would say it's okay for me to remove one damage token from hosting to prevent him from going to the hospital.
I could have sworn we did a game once where I did this, and you're like, no, he has to go to the hospital. I swear we did a game a long time ago. But it's different. Like, we've learned a lot since then, though.
Yeah.
We may remove one game.
So I think like the page 34 of the book, where it says Mulder has taken a total of 6 points of damage. Since an agent's health cannot drop below 0, Mulder now has 0 health. Mulder is immediately moved to the hospital. That use of the phrase immediately to me suggests that the intention is to not have a window of response there.
You do allow a window of response. Like unexplainable time loss, despite unexplainable time loss having the word immediately in there, though. Or no, wait, no, but that's with respect to the turn immediately. Never mind, not a good example.
Yeah. Now this is not to say that maybe the game is better with having White Buffalo and Father McHugh and effects like this able to insert at this point. But I think the context of it becomes is it preferable for that to be there?
Like looking at
whether that.
Sorry, go ahead, Alastair. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just to say that it becomes a question of, do you want to not follow the letter on page 34 on this, like the idea of someone being drops to 0 health, they're immediately moved. Do we want to maybe not focus on that too much in order to facilitate more interesting gameplay or cards being used at an interesting moment in the game? But yeah, I would just say as well that if the point at which an agent drops to 0 health, they don't go immediately to the hospital, and instead you have this window where you can play event cards, just be mindful of the fact that the question is then what other event cards can you jam into that moment that might cause other issues. You open the door to other shenanigans at that point.
That's right, because as we look at just the commercial release cards, we have an equipment card and an agent card that have a stipulation that say this may prevent an agent from going to the hospital. We also have an event card, True Grit, which says play when an agent is forced to go to the hospital, which creates that those cards create a condition that say like you can play this card in that particular moment to have this effect occur, whereas you have these other healing cards. And unfortunately for the commercial release set, we only have White Buffalo as one that doesn't state a point in time for which this card can be played. It's just kind of more generalized. So the lack of specificity on the White Buffalo is a question of like, does that a card like that is that allowed to be played in this narrow window to prevent an agent from going to the hospital? So I think so how we rule on it for the White Buffalo would probably inform the decision on how any of our fan-made cards that lack that stipulation, which like Father McHugh, for instance, it can be played on an agent in the field. It's just a question of, can he come in this narrow window to intercept an agent from being sent to the hospital. I mean, my initial thought is that the card would need to have that stipulation contained in there, like Janus or Medikit does, or to another extent the True Grit card. That was my thinking on this prior, or maybe probably my general understanding of it, because those cards made a point of saying such. And then, of course, 1013 comes along, and they come up with this card that can heal. But as we know from some of the 1013 cards, it's like some of the specificity that we might have been used to seeing in other earlier cards was not applied to them. I mean, if I were judging it, I would probably say no. If this was a tourney game and I were judging, I would probably say no at this time, because we have cards that exist that specify you can play them at this point in time to prevent an agent from having to go over there, or like in True Grit, to get a benefit out of the agent at the point of which they're still to go to the hospital. That's where I was leaning towards at this point. But as Alastair just pointed out, if we open the door for that, a lot of other cards potentially get shoehorned in to getting that benefit. Do we want that or do we not want that?
But I was quickly checking the rule book, and where does it specifically say that the agents have to wait until the end of combat before going to the hospital? Because we've usually played like as soon as the agent's health is reduced 0, they are moved to the hospital immediately. And then I cannot remember, but at some point we were like, no, we have to wait until combat ends, and then everyone goes to the hospital if they have to. But in the rule book, it kind of seems like as soon as your health is reduced to 0, you go to the hospital. So since combat continues at that point, you will not be able to play further McHugh. So that's
I think there were. Yeah, and now I'm like trying, like when I was looking at the combat subroutine, and now I'm like, what I at least I imagined is, or at least I thought is kind of like one of those. To go to quote the lost art of forehead sweat, Mandela effect or Mangala effect.
Just for maybe tonight we can say I can play further McHugh. I'm going to send both agents to the hospital, and I'm just going to, if that's okay, take back a call for help, and I'll use it during my next turn, because if I keep further McHugh, I won't be able to play him for free, and if I play during my next turn, I'll be able to play him for free. So
that's fine. Yeah, because I don't have a. Yeah, looking at this in my what I pictured in my head is not exactly how it's looking in that book now as of this point. But anyway,
make sure at the bottom of the deck that way I won't have to shuffle everything again.
Okay, right. So yeah, as a general rule, it's like, can white for the greater X-Files CCG community as a whole, can white buffalo be used to prevent an agent from going to the hospital? Those in our Discord group,
I would say yes, because it is already in play. So you are not actually playing an event. That card is already in play. So you are not paying for it at that time, at that point. It is already in play before combat begins.
Wait, what?
Oh,
like buffalo?
Isn't that a resource card?
No, it's not.
Oh no. Okay. Well, never mind then.
You're thinking ceremony, which is a resource card.
Yeah.
But it's not. Yeah, that's a different thing altogether. But yeah, no, white buffalo is just played to heal one token or one token. But,
yeah.
All right. So I don't know. I'm almost afraid to throw like a question like that in Discord. Just like, what is this gonna like? What rabbit hole are we going down by posing that question, right, Alastair?
It's always good to hear all the thoughts, and you never know who will pull something out that makes us all suddenly go, "Oh, of course, this one way of looking at it is the answer." But no, I think we've reached a lot of great group consensus on a whole bunch of things by hearing a lot of opinions in Discord. So, White Buffalo, you're up next.
All right. So both agents are in the hospital, and since the bluffs are still in effect, Scully and Cressy cannot contribute their skills to the side skill check. So the side skill check is failed.
Okay. Move those buffs to the discard.
So I'm sending Emma's Beach and Vicky Belen. So she was useful while she was there, but. And well, it's not a big more. I had maintained deniability in my hand, and both bluffs had the keyword government. So that maintained deniability, it's usually useful, but not in this case. Because this one prevents this one with maintained deniability, you can only play government cards, and both were government cards. So.
Maintain deniability is a really good example of how a playtest environment where you don't want to stop new cards being played affects deck building decisions, because maintain deniability is almost a way of stopping, like it's almost like a negate for like a huge portion of cards in the game. Because my hand hovered over it, because it's a brilliant card, my hand hovered over it for inclusion in my deck this evening, and then I thought, actually it's just going to shut off the opportunity for a bunch of stuff being played potentially. Obviously in this situation it doesn't, but yeah, it's cool that things are shifting in those lines of thought, because it means that cards like that can still show up in the playtest. And I think that once season 4 is included in tournaments, that card's going to be incredibly popular in them.
Oh yeah,
it's cool to see it here.
But unfortunately, I mean, I still have played it. You could have still played those bluffs, but you could not have played No of the Vampire. So yeah, I should have still played it to prevent you from playing other cards. Yeah, I did not think. As soon as I saw those two bluffs, I'm like, well, I might negate them. So yeah, well, you learn
because it's so good. It's so good because it's an event as well. And so whenever I play that card, I drop it in the briefing phase, so that like immediately you're like, I go to draw a card to play, maintain it. You know, it's really oppressive as a card. It's a lot of fun, although not when you're the one playing against it. Yeah. Cool. So sorry, debriefing just now.
Yeah. I have 7 cards.
4 in hand for me.
All right.
So if you're all good, I will start my turn.
Yes.
Draw a card. Res, the last 2 comes off friend in the FBI. 5 from the team is 7. I am going to draw 3 cards, so that will put me down to 4. And I'll throw it over to you.
I'm going to sell the 2-light video camera for 5. Puts me at 19. And I'm going to buy 4 cards. And back to you.
Okay, so no healing, no requisition, everyone's staying in the field. Sight cards. I will pay a total of 3, which will drop me to 1. 2 for the abandoned bus terminal, criminal investigation 4+ affiliation question, and 1 for the University of Indiana, evidence collection 5+, sciences 5+, motive or result question. And then pass it over to you for any bluffs.
I have 2 bluffs on the abandoned bus and 1 bluff on the university.
Okay. I'm going to use 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬's last token to take a peek at the one on the university, please.
It's a true bluff.
Okay. In that case, I think, the whole team's going to head to the university and we'll try the sciences prerequisite there. So 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 has 3. Hartwell, because of being on the team, has 2. Same for 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬. So that's a total of 7 sciences between them.
Yeah, you can ask your question. I cannot seem to draw any conspiracy cards, so ask your question.
Okay. Actually, before I forget, I'm going to play another new Season 5 card, Interagency Luncheon. Play on a team at a site composed of 1 keyword. Oh, sorry. I've misread this card as specifically...
Yeah, 2 agents, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking here as well. Stephen, can you just clarify that? Is this a team including 1 independent, 1 FBI, or a team of just 2?
You have to forgive me because my daughter was just in here a moment ago. So what's the question?
It's the card Interagency Luncheon from Season 5. Play on a team at a site composed of one keyword FBI agent and one independent agent. Is that specifically just one independent and one FBI, or is it a team which has at least one FBI
the
and
idea
one
is
independent?
that the team is at least I think we might just go ahead and insert this word, but the idea was a team at least composed of one of this and one of that. But I think it might be worth, as you're pointing it out now, let me just go to the card. That was my intent, but now as you're bringing it into question, let me just read it aloud. It's an event. Where is it? Okay. Plan a team at a site composed of one keyword FBI agent and one.
Also, sorry.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, at least. Yeah,
sorry, my internet skipped around.
What's that?
Sorry, my internet is jumping around a lot here. My internet is jumping around a lot here. I'm kind of losing the connection a bit. Did you say that you had intended it to be just one of each? At least
no. At least one of the. At least was the idea.
Okay,
but I think we need to have that word added in there for clarification, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So as long as the makeup of the team, so it's not like all FBI agents going to one site like Mulder and Krychek, and it's like no, you need an independent in there somewhere. So yeah, at least
the way I read that card, and in addition with the picture that is used, I thought it was a team of two agents, one FBI and one independent.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and even the picture does sort of like suggest that it would be a team composed of only them. Yeah, no, like gosh, that would
because it is specific, but at the same time the card only costs one. So I was like, yeah, but I agree. If you can have a team of 5 and at least one of them has to be FBI and one of them has to be independent, yeah, just put of at least one keyword and then that's fine.
Yeah, and like compare that to like the only example I can think of is the card Teamwork. Granted, that's a promo, so I don't know if it's a fair comparison. That one costs 0, and that one's like, yeah, play on a team of what is it? You can only have 2 agents go into that site with the benefits.
Yeah,
but it is a promo, so it's like kind of complicated. And I think but again, my intent was it has to be at least one of each composed on there. But yeah. Is that cool? Like, does that change your did I break the card by stating my intent, or what do you guys think?
No, I think you have to say at least that way it's clear and there is no confusion.
Okay, good. You agree, Alastair?
Yeah, I think it's a good but fair card, but the wording would just benefit from a little tidy up just to make that.
Yeah, and considering there's a lot of space left on that card, I mean, Dax is not going to have any trouble putting the word composed of at least one keyword FBI agent and one independent agent.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
very good. Okay, excellent. Good stuff. Good stuff. This is what I want. Excellent. Carry on, guys.
Okay, so I will bank 5 from that, which puts me up to 6. And go for this question. And I think my question is going to be, Guillaume, is your X-Files result insanity?
No, it's not.
Okay.
So for once, it was, I think now you know what my result is.
Yeah, it was that, right?
Yes. Yeah, I always choose randomly, and when I chose this one, I almost put it back because I was like, death, usually it's the first question people ask, and then I was like, well, and sometimes knowing that it's the first question that people ask, you're tempted to ask something else.
Yeah, absolutely, and it served you well here. So I will send these to the discard pile and pass to you for your turn. Or actually, sorry, debriefing first. I'm on 5 cards, so If you are a good 2, just go ahead for your turn.
I have 7. Okay, so I'm drawing my 3 card. Okay, I'm going to generate my res, which is, well, now only 3. And I'm going to buy 1 card. I'm going to buy 2 cards and passing it to you.
I am in a really tough spot here. I am not selling or buying anything this turn, so go ahead with the rest of your turn there, Guillaume.
Okay. So healing or 4 healing, they each heal 1, and I'm also, well, I'm going to call for help. Before, and I'm going to retrieve the last card of my deck, which is 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, and I can play him for 3. Play on an agent in the field of the hospital. An agent with the Cured Believer immediately heals 2 tokens of damage. I'm going to play it on Hostin to heal 2 tokens of him, and that's it. 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 is sent to the discard pile. For requisition, I'm not requisitioning anything. Deployment, I'm bringing Hostin out of the hospital. And for case assignment, we are going to investigate Tierney in Texas. And I once again forgot to put token back on Spiritual Consult, but I'm going to use that token to pay for the card. So it's occult investigation or subterfuge, affiliation, and method.
And I have one bluff to play on that one.
Okay, so I'm going to use Scully's last token to look at that bluff.
And so this is another new one from season 5. I really like this card. It's called Armed Robbery. For 1. If no agents at the site have a keyword weapon card equipped, you may take up to 3 resource points from your opponent's resource pool and add them to your conspiracy pool.
Well, go ahead. Well, I'm sending
so
everyone.
the team.
Yeah, so I'm sending everyone.
So you're right.
Yeah. So I'm sending the whole team to the site using occult investigation. At that point, the bluff is revealed, and you can pay for it. And so, how much does it cost?
Yes, because it was face down, it actually cost nothing. So I just get to steal 3 points here.
Moving 3. 1.
But the bad news for me is that even with stealing 3 points from your resource pool, I cannot do anything to stop this investigation. So you can go ahead and ask your question.
So, is your it's a method or affiliation? Is your affiliation government?
It is not government.
Okay. Right. So at this point, I know. Well, unless if I did not make a mistake, I think I know who your X-File is. The thing is, I finally have one card. I finally have one conspiracy card that maybe I'll be able to play. And so, well, if I guess correctly, can we play another round so that I can try to play 2 season 5 cards?
Yes.
Okay. So are you Dr. Benton?
Yes, I am. Yeah, well done. Well played.
And congratulations go to Guillaume for that win. Yes, we are going to do an encore round because potentially we got a chance of seeing a a couple more cards from the Season 5 expansion getting played, and so I'm very, very eager to see what those two might be. Before we get to that encore round, though, just quick thoughts, guys, on this first game. What's your takeaway?
Guillaume, go for it.
Okay. As I was saying, I loved it just for the pure joy of having new cards to play with, and I think it's been a while since we've played with new cards, and it really feels like not a brand new game, but it really feels like a new experience because there are so many. Even though we've played so many games and there are already many cards, including Season 4, at some point we're like, okay, we've seen those cards and we're familiar with them. So it's really great to have all those new cards to play with. So, and I think other than maybe a few words that need to be really specified, otherwise the Season 5 cards that we've played with are perfectly fine, which is no surprise. But yeah, nothing too controversial. So I think that was a good first playtest.
Yeah. Thank you so much, both of you guys, for designing new cards for us to play with. Like, I'm sure that I speak on behalf of the whole community that it is so amazing to be able to like continue to explore more of the X-Files TV show via these new sets being released. Like, I always think back to like, you know, like young me picking up this game would be back when I was a kid, would be so stoked to know that I would be able to play the whole of the X-Files mythos eventually with new card sets being made. So and today's game is just absolute proof of how much fun it is to get to do that, as my games with Season 4 cards, Scully cards, soon Blackbird cards as well have all gone to prove. So yeah, thanks to you guys, everyone else who's involved in playtesting, Dax for his hard work, doing the production of these cards, which is just always amazingly well done. Yeah, and yeah, just fan community out there, or like order these sets if you can, if you enjoy playing with new cards and you want to see new ones printed for the game. Like, I will definitely be getting 2 sets of this when it comes out, as I have done for each of the fan expansions. And I think like sometimes for all of us in our hobbies, it can be easy to take things for granted a bit when it's other people doing the work. But these guys put in so much work to getting these new sets done and making them really good for you. Like, if you can support that and pick up the cards and just have fun playing with them, which I'd imagine is probably the main thing that you guys want at the end of the day anyway. So you know, let's look forward to many more games with Season 5 cards.
Very well said, and thank you so much, Alastair, for saying that. And for anyone who is currently interested in getting their hands on the existing fan-made cards, you can reach out to Dax Golding. Again, can't say enough about the work that he does. You can find him in the X-Files CCG Facebook group. You can send him a private message through there. Or if you're in our Discord group, Purity Control, you can also send him a private message there. Links to both are in the description below and every video on this channel. Thank you again, Alastair. That was very nicely articulated. But now let's get to that encore round, shall we?
Yes.
Okay. Right, let me set that aside.
So I have 8. I'm discarding 1 card, and that's it.
Yes, so we'd have a debriefing phase. I only have 4 cards in hand. What did you do? Just discarded a site there, Guillaume?
Yeah, I discarded. I discarded University of Indiana from my hand, and I had Cheney, Texas still in place, so I discarded that as well.
Okay, and then so it would obviously it would go back to being my turn. Draw my free card, and then create resources. So it'd just be the 5 from the team. That would put me to 11. How much would I spend here? probably. I'll spend 2 on cards, so that drops me to 9. And I draw 2. And obviously then pass to you for selling and buying for conspiracy.
So I'm going to sell maintain deniability for 2, Margaret Scully for 2, Melissa Scully for 3. And the one card that I really wanted to play was Dana Scully Abducted. As I think there are abduction cards in this Season 5 expansion, maybe this will finally be the time to have Dana Scully Abducted, but not tonight. Let's try that for a total of 10. Puts me at 25. And I'm going to purchase 6 cards. And back to you.
Okay. So no healing, no requisition. I'd leave everyone in the field. And then also during deployment I would pay 5, which would drop me to 4 for Phoebe Green on the team for the turn.
I've never seen so many agents being played from the hand.
It's just I think it's something that's probably like maybe slightly underused in our playgroup in general. I know that there's a lot that you can do that's very valuable with resource points, and that there are limits on how much adding an agent for just 1 turn can really contribute to your team. But I don't think it deserves to never be seen, and we're fairly close to that in our games. I think like Tom Colton coming in for 4 for a turn for your team, for example, has a very good stat line. And these extra agents, the insurance that they bring against adversaries is not negligible as well often too. So sometimes I like to slip these things into like non-tournament games just to like test the waters and see if maybe there's some room to innovate there at all. So and actually I've been able to play all 3 of the agents that I had in the deck for that purpose this evening as well. So anyway, I digress. I would spend 1.
I have a Season 8 card that it's a resource card that you play in your bureau, and it allows you, whenever you play an agent from your hand, it allows you to use that agent's game effect, if applicable. So for instance, you could, when you play Danny Pendrell, you play him from your hand, but you would still be able to place the tokens on him, and you could remove a token to add 1 to his skills, for instance. You would still discard the agent at the end of the turn, but you would have the benefit of using their game effects. So maybe that would also encourage people to use more agents in their deck.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that really facilitating that archetype. And as someone who's a fan of it, I urge you to cost it aggressively, Guillaume. Give us that effect cheap so that we can really push these agents into our decks. Sorry. So I paid 1 for the Sim Residence. This is criminal 5+, medical 5+, motive or method question. And I will pass to you for any bluffs you'd like to play.
So no bluffs.
So with that, I would send the whole team to the site. No Hudak trigger this time because it is a multi-site, not a mono one. Pass to you for any conspiracy cards.
So I have, I'm going to play it face up. I'm going to play Skyline Massacre for 6. So this one is a new one from Patient X. So agents at this site with an alien investigation or observation skill are afflicted with the keyword abductee and receive 2 points of damage. In addition, alien adversaries may ignore activator requirements to attack agents at this site. So, yeah.
Hold on, I lost my other dice for damage somewhere. 2 seconds. So Scully, Scully has 2, and I don't have enough counters to mark it, but obviously all of them have the abductee keyword as well. Now.
All right, and then the second card that I want to play is the Rebels Strike. It costs 9, but this card is free if played on a keyword abductee card, which all of the agents have the keyword abductee. Scully had it already, and Skyline Massacre also has the keyword abductee. And since Skyline Massacre allows alien adversaries to ignore activator requirements.
Nice.
Yeah. I had that Rebel Strikes. I had it in my hand since I don't know how many turns. I had Scully previously afflicted with the keyword abductee, but unfortunately, you did not investigate any alien investigation site, so I was desperate to be able to play that card. The Skyline Massacre finally came, but I drew it during my previous turn, which is why I was like, this will be the opportunity to test that adversary card and to see those 2 cards in play. So we'll be able to, it won't change the outcome of the game, but at least we'll be able to see how the Rebels strike. You know, they fare, and you have a pretty big team of agents, so that will be a good way to test that adversary.
Yeah, the fact that the bluff gets the whole team, even the agent that I added that didn't start on my team got hit by that bluff. And then, so how does the what's the stat line on the adversary here?
So the keyword are alien creature and master, activator alien investigation. So as I said, this card is free if played on a keyword abductee card. Damage from close range combat may be split among all opponents, directed player's choice. The rebels may use martial arts and subterfuge combat card. So they have 0 long range. So maybe your team will be able to wipe them out before long range even begins, because they have a health of 8. So how much long range combat do you have? I think you have more than enough, actually.
Yeah, so it would be 12, unless you have like a combat card maybe that gets them out of a long situation.
Yeah, no, I don't have any combat cards, unfortunately. Yeah.
But so, 2 damage to everyone on the team is good work. And then there'll be a lot of situations where the team is not that resilient in long range combat, and the adversary is then able to finish agents off and really cause chaos.
Yeah, because since it's basically free, no, you don't take a big risk in playing it anyway. But, yeah.
Wow. Now that's a hell of a play right there, guys. Is there more? I hope I'm not interrupting too soon, but there's a lot to digest in that play right there.
Do you have more conspiracy cards to play this whole game, or?
No, that was it. The only other card that I drew was also an abduction card, but it's Prophet Ascending, but it requires a witness in order for it to be played.
This is a big part of the expansion here. Oh, go ahead, Alastair. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, so I would have a motive or a method question after that.
And Alastair, you still got to identify his X-Files, so take a crack at it.
You can first ask the characteristic question that will narrow it down.
Is there anything I could ask that would really narrow it down if it was right? I think the best I could do would be to ask, is your method subterfuge?
It is subterfuge.
Huzzah.
So hilariously, that would have been my first right guess of the game. Which would have... how many would that have narrowed it down? That would have had me to 2 possibilities. No, 3. three possibilities. So either Tombs, Faster, or the Vampire. So yeah, I still would have been a ways off, Guillaume, from being able to whittle you down to one. Yeah, that would definitely be another turn or two coming.
So if you were to guess one of those three, it is one of those three. So if you were to guess, which one would you say?
I will guess the Vampire.
I was going to say that too.
Oh, no, I was doing faster.
Dummy. I was like, vampires are really rampant in this game tonight. So that's why I think I was leaning towards that. Wow. Okay, so yes, let's go back to those last two cards that Guillaume played, because those are some whoppers. And this is a big part of the expansion where a lot of the cards that are included in here are playing around with the keywords, some of which we got very little of that in the commercial or in the premiere and Truth Is Out There edition, which was pretty much the Thinker and the Cigarette Smoking Man Strikes. That's pretty much all we really got with regards to keywords. 1013, I think I don't think 1013 did anything with keywords other than suggest that, oh, hey, an Insanity card would make these two cards free, but that's pretty much it. And then we get the Scully set, which did offer a bit more with keywords being able to be changed, or in the case there's one card that prevents keywords from getting changed. So we got a bit more of that in the Scully expansion. But yes, one of the big... Yeah, go ahead.
It also, the Scully set also hinted at a keyword secret card.
Yes. So yeah, that's one of the bigger components of the Season 5 expansion is the changing of keywords, because you got this keyword of abductee, which several cards, Guillaume, you played two of them tonight, if I'm not mistaken. You played, what was the first one that changed to Summoned by the Stars, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was the event. And then you played, obviously, the Skyline Massacre, which did the same thing. So again, we got some cards that played with keywords, but while that's great and all, I mean, I know, like, if Dave Meyer were here, it'd be like, yeah, but it's a bit too situational for my tastes. But I think therein lies part of the fun with it. It's like the way you build your deck. If you stack the right cards in there, 2 copies potentially, and the size of your deck obviously being a factor in it, there's possibility for getting that to play. As Guillaume, you noted, like, you had one of those cards in your hand for a while, and then you were just waiting for the opportunity to be able to slide in that other card should it come up. But what are you guys' thoughts on, first of all, let's talk about Skyline Massacre, right? 6 CP, and in the case Alastair, you just happen to have had 5 agents on there because you brought Phoebe Green into there. Nicely done on that. And it distributed 2 damage across the board. Now, compare that to, say, the Explosion bluff of the Truth Is Out There edition. Now, for that, we would have had to pay a total of, I think, 4 CP plus discarding 2 cards from the hand. Is that correct?
Yes.
In order to get that effect. And plus -1 if it was played face down, which would have been 3 CP plus 2 cards discarded from the hand. Compare that to the 6 CP, potentially -1 for being played face down, 5 or 6 CP, but sticker cost up front being 6. Is that fair, Alastair, for being able to distribute 2 damage across the board? But again, I say across the board, it just so happened that all of your agents had an observation skill value on there.
Or an alien investigation skill. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. Yeah, it literally is best case scenario. I think it's safe to say that you're not often going to have your opponent play an extra agent into the team who also matches one of those 2 keywords, so that you can get the quintuple hit with it. So I wouldn't worry. Yeah, wouldn't worry that what we saw in that game would be repeated too often. And I think at the point that you're saying that, totally fair, Boston.
I should note that if Manners were on that team, he would be taking 2 damage, and he would only have a sliver of health left at that point because he has 2 observation, and he would be taking 2 damage if he were on that team. And rest assured, if I were playing, he would be on there. So yeah, I mean, and we did have another bluff card in this set. I think
Did we lose Steven? I'm still here, but I think we lost Steven.
Oh, I can hear you again.
He has been abducted. Oh no, he's back. Oh no.
Oh. He can reappear, right, as the host. He should be able to jump back.
Yeah, he can reappear at any time.
Hey, back.
I do apologize, guys. I did lose my Wi-Fi momentarily, but thanks for sticking around. So, gosh, where did I get cut off there? Guillaume, did we have a bluff from the set that we, I think we had a few people raise concerns about the damage being too severe for the cost? I can't remember which one that was.
From the season 5 set?
I thought it was from season 5 because I think, I think it was a shootout at the 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬.
Yeah. That's
okay. I mean, we didn't see that one tonight, but yeah, we did modify the cost based on, because I think it was something in the sense that
shootout only targets one agent.
Yeah, and I think I had it originally as their LRC and CRC value or something like that, but then I just changed it to LRC alone. Anyway, but as far as you guys, and I think going into it was like, well, that was another card where I was like, I wonder if it's going to be deemed too powerful for the cost. And as Alastair said, this was probably a best case scenario, or in his case, a worst case scenario, in that it just so happened. And because we're only talking about 2 of the 11 skills, alien investigation and observation, on this card. But as of this point, how do you guys feel with respect to that one?
At first, I thought maybe it was, well, in that scenario of being able to play Skyline Massacre and the Rebels Strike, I thought maybe it was too powerful a combo, but
damage. So if anything, you can argue that the Rebel Strike is very much on par with the Alien Bounty Hunter. Although, I mean, the in cost for that bounty hunter is just absolutely outrageous.
But I think with season 4, you've had the Lieutenant Wilmer card, which helps, kind of play him more easily. And I know that there are at least one card in season 7 that allows him to be played more easily, and 2 in season 8 as well. So I think at some point we made it a focus to, our mission to help people play the Alien Bounty Hunter.
Guillaume, now I'm looking at the Rebel Strike, and Alastair, could you remind us, what was the site that you had in play at that point?
Oh, it was one of the multi-sites from season 5. Was it the university or sim residence or something?
It was sim residence, yeah.
How did you get to play the Rebel Strike on that, Guillaume?
Because the Skyline Massacre allows you to play.
Yes, I forgot the second part. Yes, thank you. Sorry, I was looking at the activator for the Rebel Strike, and I was Alien Investigation. I was like, wait a sec, but I forgot the secondary effect. Yes, sweetie, do you want to sit on my lap? All right, my daughter wants to say hi to you gentlemen, and maybe she would like to say thank you guys for playtesting Daddy's expansion. It's all he ever works on here at the house.
Hello.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome.
So, so we're talking about the Rebel Strike. So, yeah, they didn't get actually a chance to inflict their damage because, we got to long range and they were destroyed. Even without Phoebe Green on the team, Alastair, your team would have had enough to defeat them, right?
Fairly comfortably as well, I think, even without her,
10, right?
I think it was 10 without Green,
Yeah, so that just goes to show, like, a team with a cumulative 20 RP cost going in to investigate a site would potentially have enough LRC to destroy this adversary before they get a chance to inflict damage. In Alastair's case, you had the best case scenario where you had an extra agent added to the team during deployment, which we rarely ever see. But even without her, we still had enough to best the rebels with your team's combined force. So seeing that play out, even with Guillaume having the luxury of 2 damage inflicted on each of the agents going into it. I still feel okay with how the Rebels has been written, but I yield to you as well as anyone else tuning in.
I think in this. Sorry.
I think it feels fun. You need to see something in playtesting, a really radically different situation that somehow shed a very different light on it for it to feel problematic. I think you've done a great job with that pair. It feels fun but fair.
And this is one where I'm also wondering, and this is the first instance in which it has been played, but I hope to see this adversary played out many more times throughout the playtesting. I did give it a cost of 9, partly because I am so very much opposed to the bounty hunter's gross 12 CP cost. I really think that was it's more for brand name, if anything. He's like the Adidas of adversaries in X-Files CCG. However, I think we also should note that the Rebel Strike have an activator of alien investigation, which is 1 of 11 skills, versus say the bounty hunter, which has a motive sight activator, which is potentially 4 or 1 of 4 possible sight combinations that could be playing. So I thought that also kind of informed the cost factor, because I think that seemed like a reasonable deduction in the cost. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I was desperately hoping that Alastair would play at least one site with the keyword alien investigation, but he kept going back to the same sites over and over. So I was like, please investigate something other than criminal investigation, but no.
What about you, Alastair?
It seems totally fair. Good costing point for it. And I think as well, just looking at all the adversaries that are in this set, I like the stagger of cost you have for them, Stephen. It's always nice to get a mixed bag. I always feel that the different tiers of costs for adversaries in this set really impact your deck building choices for that set. So it seems like a good spread, interesting mix of effects. Nod of the Vampire was very fun. I look forward to seeing that one's journey through the rest of playtesting.
Excellent. So I want to recap for anyone who may have been, gosh, we're 3 hours, 43 minutes of this. And again, thank you guys for availing so much of your time. So we had several questions arise during it. The first one was, does Terra Scully generate tokens beyond if Scully should have all 3 on there? My intent was yes, and it could be 4. And we're sticking with that. The other question was, does the resource point placed on agent cards like Spiritual Consult come from the pool? And I say no. And should security checkpoint be revised to say all skill checks occurring at the site? We did say that is going to be one of the 3 changes that Dax will be making as a result of this playtest. And so, Guillaume, if you have a moment, I was going to read what my exact rewording of it is going to be as of this point and see if you concur. Play this card to prevent all agents without a subterfuge skill value from contributing to any skill checks occurring at this site.
Yes. Yes, it makes, yes, perfect.
And it's pretty much mirrored the BATF refuses to play ball. So
yeah,
same
I was no trespassing also, and yes, it's
trespassing.
Yeah.
And so speaking of the BATF refuses to play ball, that's going to be one of the other changes, which again, it's just decapitalizing the layer 2, the T in the layer in 2 in the title. So easy one there. And then the final change that we're going to be making as a result of this playtest is adding the phrase "at least" to the interagency luncheon event card. And so that's where we have it. We did have another question that came up with the result to Gnaw the Vampire. Is it too powerful? As of this point, not inclined to make any definitive changes as of yet. I want to see how it plays out in upcoming playtests. We have a few possibilities where we might look at the activator being revised to something that's a bit more limiting. We might also look at reducing the close range by 1. We might also look at upping the cost. So there's 3 possibilities for how we might revise that particular adversary. But again, not committed to any of those 3 at this point. I do want to wait and see what happens when some of the other play testers, and of course, if you guys do an encore game, like to see what happens with that adversary in upcoming ones. But I feel like there might be one revision to that with one of the aforementioned possibilities. We might play with the activator, we might play with the close range combat, we might adjust the cost somewhere in there, but we'll get more feedback on that in future playtests. Anything else though? Did I miss anything?
No, you covered it all.
And I think you agree, right? Okay, she says yes, although she was only tuning in for part of it, but we'll go with that. So again, gentlemen, I want to thank you again. This was so much fun, and as you guys both pointed out, is like getting a chance to see more cards injected into this game we love is such a treat. And because Alastair pointed out, it's like all those many years ago when the game was discontinued, and we knew there were not going to be any more new cards coming up that were going to represent the series beyond the 3rd season. It really is just a great feeling to be able to actually see some of the events of those later seasons get played out. And in some cases, it's like that those moments when certain card combinations occur that are derived from like the same episode, in that sense of like, oh, it's a very fitting play. We're getting a chance to see some of that play out with these new expansions. And again, it's just such a reward to actually see that.
I was just so excited to get to play Sheriff Hartwell in a game of X-Files. That made my day.
Yes, of course. Such a beloved character. And this is only one of 2 versions of that. I do hope we get to see the Mulder POV version of Sheriff Hartwell in one of the upcoming...
I'll make you that promise right now, Stephen. If I'm back for another playtest game, he'll be on my team.
When Alastair first revealed his agents and, we saw Hartwell Scully POV out there, Guillaume hadn't revealed his yet. And I thought, well, it would probably be too much to hope that Guillaume would have the Mulder version, because Guillaume is so traditionally inclined to use Scully on a team as opposed to Mulder. So I thought, that seems like too unlikely. And sure enough, Guillaume, you proved me correct.
Yeah.
But we love seeing Scully out there because, again, she will call your bluff. Not once, not twice, but thrice. So again, guys, thank you so very much for taking almost 4 hours out of your day to try this out. I hope you guys do make yourselves available for at least another playtest before we call it wraps on playtesting.
Oh yeah. For once, I will not be taking apart my playtest deck because I went only halfway through the deck, so there are still many cards that I did not get a chance to play. So before I take it apart and build a new one, I want to at least play with it one more time. So if anyone has printed their cards and wants to play, I'm available next weekend, for instance. I'm even available tomorrow night if someone wants to play a game. So.
Very good. I hope one of our other many playtesters is watching. I know some of them have messaged me that they're in the process of getting them printed, which is great. And again, I thank you guys for even taking the time to, and potentially the money spent on printing these as well. So I can't thank you enough for that. If I had an unlimited amount of funds on my end, all of you playtesters will be getting a free set of this when it's all said and done. But I think we can safely say that knowing what the cost of season 4 was to print and ship, this set will be in and around that same cost when all is said and done. Because again, we're working with the exact same number of cards in this expansion that we had in season 4. But again, I wish I could see to it that everyone gets one. But again, I can certainly extend no shortage of gratitude to both of you for doing this. And we've already found a few things that are certainly worth fixing for these cards. And this is just the inaugural playtest. So there's going to be many more, and we'll undoubtedly have a lot of notes to send to Dax, which I'm going to probably just hold off until we're all done, just in case some of these changes maybe get countered in a later game, although I doubt for the 3 that we came up with, I don't see that being the case for these 3, but there's still potential for that in another playtest when we get other chances to see these cards get played. So I do think we need to be signing off pretty soon. It is pretty late. I think, Guillaume, it's almost 1 for you. Or is it 1 o'clock?
Yes, it is.
It is 1 o'clock. And Alastair, that means it's midnight for you. So I know you guys need to get to sleep, and do enjoy the rest of your weekend. But before we go, I want to thank everyone who tuned in for the live broadcast and contributing to the live chat during it. And of course, if you're watching this recording later, feel free to drop some comments below and give us your thoughts on some of these cards that we saw. And please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It is the simplest, easiest way to support this channel and to support the content that we're putting out, and it goes a really long way. So please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Do you have something else you wanted to say before we call it a night?
6:01.
It is currently 6:01 p.m., but for the gentlemen there, they are on the other side of the globe, so it is much later for them.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll shut the door to this X-Files office for tonight. Again, thank you guys for playing, and thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time on another edition of Alien Investigations. And good day and good night to all. We are out.
Good night.
Good night. Gosh.